Good evening. Hi. Okay, let's wait for people to come in. Hi, Toru. Okay. Let's wait for everyone to come in and then so that we can start with our session for tonight. Hi, Kuroshi. We'll be discussing this is our 6th session of our UPCAT Math Oracle. So kung saan tayo ay manghuhula, nakita yung crystal ball ko dyan. So nanghuhula tayo ng mga ilalabas sa UPCAT. And hindi lang siya basta-basta hula, kaya nga tayo ay manghuhula, ibig sabihin meron tayong credentials na kung paano tayo nanghuhula. Meron tayong kakayahan na para manghula. Okay? So, yan yung nagagawa natin dito. And just to introduce myself, by the way, I am Robert, no? From Axe Aching Incorporated. So, yung review center natin is in this industry for the past 26 years already. And we have already produced a lot of students to get in to their dream schools, especially the top 4, UP, Ateneo, LaSalle, and UST. No? So, marami na nakapasok doon because of us. And hopefully, sa mga nag-a-attend sa atin dito, at least dun sa math proficiency part ay matutulungan namin kayo. Yan yung pinaka-goal ko dito. And this is also our payback to the public, no? Especially for those who might not be able to afford to pay for the review programs, no? Review centers, parang ganun, like sa amin. So at least dito namin kayo matutulungan kung paano natin haharapin ang UPCAT, no? Yun. So, dun sa mga nandito, can you give me an idea like what grade level are you in? Are you all grade 12? Can you type on the chat here? Can I know? Okay. Can I have some idea here? Okay, Aladdin, hi. Okay. Loyal, grade 12 also. Meron bang hindi dito grade 12? Meron bang mas bata ba dito? Or maybe even those who already took the UPCAT before already, that who are here just for curiosity purposes. Meron ba? No? O puro grade 12 lang ba dito? How about the others? Okay? And maybe you can also help me by sharing this live to your friends, to your account. No? So, James, you're what? Grade 12 also? Or tapos ka na sa UPCAT? No? Can you let me know? Okay? So, yun nga, no? So, tapos na. Wow. Oh, that's a very good, I would like to hear from you a little bit more. Anong year ka nag-take ng UPCAT mo? Can you share to us, James? What year ka nag-take ng UPCAT? Okay, before we start, I'm just waiting for maybe just for a few more minutes lang before. Oh, last year lang. Oh, so very fresh. So, okay. And you have attended a few sessions already, di ba? From us here. How can you share to the people here? Kamusta naman ang so far ng mga nabanggit namin mga questions? Hype ba yung mga questions namin dito na parang pinahirapan ba namin? Or are they realistic? Or merong mga ganyan at meron din naman madali na lumalabas. Can you share to us? Ikaw yung pinaka may fresh experience dito. So maybe you can share to us here kung ano yung masasabi natin. So far, sa mga questions na nilalabas namin dito, what can you say? Okay. Meron pong same concept but not too difficult to solve. Yeah, okay. That's good. That's good. So, that's ganun naman talaga yung concept. No? So, very good. So, meron, kumbaga, mas madali ng konti compare mo sa pinapakita namin dito. Okay? So, yun. Pero meron din man yung mga iba naman na mahirap talaga. Meron ka bang mga encounter na ganun? Okay? Sige. Okay. Okay, sige. May iba na mas mahirap. Okay. So, ganun nga talaga, no? So, there will always be a mix of easy level, average level, and difficult level. But hindi lang natin alam kung aling topic ang ilalabas ang easy, aling topic ilalabas ang average, aling topic ilalabas ang difficult. That is why the questions that we are providing you here are at least on the average level. Okay? Because if you can handle the average and difficult level, then we would assume somewhat that you can handle yung easy level. Okay? Kaya ganun yung starting point natin dito. Okay? So, ganun lang ang simple ang goal natin dito. Ha? Okay. So, for those who are here, I think more or less, sige, maybe last 2 questions na lang sa atin. No? So far. So, sa ngayon, we're already on July 8. Your exams are on August 1 and 2. Malalaman nyo yung date nyo, I think, if I'm not mistaken, yung last week of July pa, bago nyo malalaman kung Saturday kayo, or Sunday kayo, or morning kayo, or afternoon kayo. No? So, doon nyo pa nang malalaman. So, it's best that you assume that you are Saturday morning para talagang, okay, first kayong isasalang. Wala na kayong kailangang isipin. And then, if it so happen na afternoon kayo, or the Sunday pa kayo, then it somewhat should be better for you. Unless na may mga students dito na mas prefer nila na, ay, tapusin ko na. Kasi ayaw ko marinig yung mga feedback or yung mga emotions ng mga taong nag-take. Baka lalo akong matakot, baka lalo akong kabahin. No? So, you can share also what you feel. Kailan nyo gusto mag-take ng exam? Ano yung best schedule para sa inyo? Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, Sunday morning, at Sunday afternoon. And then, why? No? Can you share to us din dito? No? Then, more or less, we're about to start na rin ang discussion natin in a few minutes na lang din. Okay? So, yun. So, kamusta naman ba yung feelings natin doon regarding that? And as of now, since less than a month to go, so medyo marami na nandun sa cramming mode na. Okay? I'd like to remind everyone again, no? Yes, we might be in the cramming mode at this point, especially those who have just started reviewing. Okay? But the way to cram, okay, the way to cram is not to go over all the different topics. Yung mga nakikita niyo yung mga study plan online, yung mga topics na nakaano dyan, lalo kayo baka kabahin. No, if ever. Okay? So, mas mahirap yun. Okay? So, yun. So, James is an incoming first year in UP Mindanao. Wow, congratulations. And what course did you take? What course ka nakapasok, James? So, yun nga, no? So, parang, kumbaga, you're not expected, especially at this time, to be able to, complete all the contents given the time that you have. Oh, computer science, congrats. Very good. Okay? So, yun, hindi na siya possible yun in a way. So, kailangan na lang ngayon natin is to maximize your score. Okay? So, focus ka muna doon sa mga sure answers. Remember, in entrance exams, ang most important thing to do is to be able to get right answers. Okay? Hindi yung parang alam nyo na parang hindi. Okay? Hindi yung parang half-baked. Okay? If all the questions that you have is basically half-baked, lagot na tayo sa exam. Kasi parang alam nyo na parang hindi. Pagdating sa UP, it's right -1/4 wrong. Because of that 1/4 wrong, baka hindi na kayo makahula. Baka matakot na kayong manghula. Okay? So, yun lang ang very important thing to do. So, I would rather na meron kayong sure answers and meron kayong sure na no answers, if ever. Okay? Then everything is half-baked. Okay? So, you maximize the score that you can get. Okay? Sige. Okay. So, with that, I think if you have anything that you like to share or you like to ask, whether it's about math or it's about UPCAT in general, or even any college entrance test in general, or even courses, ganun, no? Feel free to post them in the chat. Okay? I'll answer to the best of my ability. No, actually, in my review center, aside from teaching the students or preparing the students for their upcoming entrance exam, we also help them with regards to their career path in a way that we have actually career guidance tests to help them to see na, ano kaya mas possible na mas prefer nila, bagay sa kanila. May mga ganun tayo. So that's why if you have any questions regarding the courses, okay ba tong course or whatsoever, feel free to ask. No? And if ever kung di ko masagot man siya ngayon ng live, I can record or I can just post a message doon sa, meron tayong parang, ano ba tawag doon? Parang community in the, you can also join that community. Okay? Sige. So let's start for tonight. So we are actually on question 19. Okay? So for those who missed the previous 18 questions, okay, I already have uploaded in our YouTube channel. You can find the YouTube channel. It's already in the ticker box there also. It's Ian Robert as well. So you look for Ian Robert in YouTube. So you can follow my channel there. I already uploaded session 1, session 2, session 3. So I will still have to upload yung session 4 at session 5. Ito yung kulang nila. So that, I believe that's from question number 13 hanggang number 18. Yun yung kulang ko. 1 to 12 nakapost na. So 13 to 18, yan yung papost ko probably by tomorrow or Friday. Ganun lang yun. Okay? So for today, we'll be focusing on question number 19 and maximum abot tayo ng question number 23. Okay? So depende na lang sa pacing natin. Baka kung maraming kayong katanungan, no, or mahirapan tayo or what. So doon na lang tayo magdedepend. Okay? So 19 to 23 maximum. Okay. Sige. Okay. So ready na ba tayo? If ready na, kindly type ready on the chat please. Okay? Type ready for question number 19 tayo. Okay? Thank you, Aladdin. Thank you, Kiroshi. Okay. How about the others? You're not ready, the others? Oh, hi. How do I pronounce your name? Ivry? I'm not sure if I pronounce it correctly. Your handle here. Okay. Sige. So at least meron na tayong a few who says ready. So let's start. No? So let's take a look at first question here. Tingnan natin. Okay? Question number 19. What will it be about? Question number 19, it's about triangle congruence and similarity. Okay? Triangle congruence and similarity. So, we're now actually in geometry. No? Nandiyan to na sa geometry. Today will be everything about geometry. So, kailangan masanay na tayo on your mata natin na parang kung paano natin tingnan yung mga figures, paano natin ina-analyze. Okay? Yan yung pinaka-important. Now, when you say triangle congruence, ano ibig sabihin doon? Ano yung difference ng congruence tsaka similar? Ibig sabihin, ano yung difference ng congruence triangles and similar triangles? Meron ba makakasagot sa atin dito? Ano yung difference ng congruent triangles and similar triangles? No? Ano yung major difference nila? Okay? So, sige. So, pag sinabi natin congruent triangles, itong ibig sabihin na ito ay yung dalawang triangle na ito ay exactly the same. Ang sinasabi natin dyan, sila ay parang sinasabi natin kambal, tuko ba tawag natin doon? Kumbaga, magkamukhang kamuka. No? So all the sides and all the angles, all the corresponding sides and corresponding angles are exactly the same. So they are all congruent. All the parts are congruent. Yan ang congruent triangles. So that means pag yung corresponding sides nila, equal yung measurement nila. Okay? So you can use an algebraic equation to equate them. Now, pag sinabi natin namang similar triangles, okay? Ito naman yung pwede nating sabihin ang daddy tsaka yung junior. Okay? Yung anak, no? Na magkamukha sila, no? Alam mong, oy, tatay niya siya yun. Sure na yun kasi sobrang kamukha. Pero alam din natin na, ay, isang mas matanda, ay, isang mas bata. So, ibig sabihin, pag sinabi nating similar, that means they can look alike, but they don't necessarily be congruent. Okay? Hindi sila nasa congruent. So, sample figure ng similar triangle, pwedeng sabihin natin, kunyari, ganito. Okay? Let's say, ito yung triangle na isa. Okay? Tapos, pwede tayo mag-draw another line here that is parallel to this one. So, makikita natin dito, itong maliit na triangle nandito ay actually similar to the big triangle. Okay? Similar to the big triangle. So, yung pag similar triangles, yung angles nila ay magkakaparehas. Pero yung sides nila, not necessarily. We can only say that the ratio of your corresponding sides. Okay? Ratio of corresponding sides. Ay, hindi na ba? Ito pala. Ratio of corresponding sides are congruent. Yung ratio ang congruent at hindi yung mismong side. Okay? So yung ratio nila ang magkaparehas. Okay? So that is very crucial. Okay? Now, let's take a look at one example here na very likely to come out in the entrance exam or in the UPCAT. Okay? So, take a look at this question here. Okay? Wala siyang drawing na binigay. No? Paano natin kasasagutan to? So, sabi niya dito, let me read the question. Let triangle MNO be congruent to triangle PQR. Suppose that MN equals to 3 times the quantity x plus 5, NO equals to 4 times the quantity x plus 1, and PQ equals to the 9 times quantity x minus 1. Okay? Find your QR. So, paano natin hanapin si QR? Okay. So, pag sinabi natin congruent ang dalawang triangles natin dito, no? Pag sinabi natin triangle M and O will be congruent. That symbol, may ganyan, tsaka equal, that's congruent. Kasi equal, that means equal yung measure. Yung ganon, that means magkaparehas. Pagka similar, yung sa taas lang, walang equal sign. Okay? So, triangle PQR. Okay? PQR. Now, tandaan natin ganito. No? Pag sa triangle, pag sinabi natin ganito yung congruent niya, ibig sabihin lang niyan, yung bawat isang vertex na nandito, they correspond to each other. What do I mean? Ibig sabihin niyan, M corresponds to, mali. M corresponds to P, N corresponds to Q, O corresponds to R. So, ibig sabihin niyan, si M dito, tsaka si P dito, sila ang magkatumbas. N, tsaka si Q ang magkatumbas, O, tsaka si R ang magkatumbas. Okay? So, therefore, pag sinabi natin dito na, we have here Mn, right? Mn is equal to 3 times x plus 5. And we also have NO to be equal to 4 times x plus 1, right? This 2 belongs to the triangle MNO, diba? Now, what we have on the other triangle is your PQ, no? PQ, sinong katumbas ng PQ? Can you tell me? Which on the triangle MNO ang ka-correspondent ni PQ? Can you type on the chat here? By the way, okay, MN, thank you very much. By the way, can you tell me, can you see the solution that I have there? O mas mahirap tingnan ngayon because of whatever chat ganyan. Mas mahirap ba? Tama ba? Mas hindi nababasa yung solution natin because of that? Kita naman. Okay. Can you check if I will, every time around, tingnan niyo kung mas maganda. Okay? Nakikita na maayos pa? Okay. Sige. So, wala naman nahirapan. Okay tayo ganito. Pag anytime na nakikita may mga comments, etc. na hindi nyo na mabasa, please let me know. I will switch the question and the solution. Para yung solution ngayon sa taas, question naman na sa baba. Para mas makita nyo yung solution na maayos. Okay? Just let me know. Ha? Okay? Yan na lang tayo. Okay, now, so going back. So, ang katapat ng PQ is your MN. Okay? So, that's why I will align the PQ with MN. PQ is 9 times x minus 1. How about your QR? QR will be partner with sino? Si Q with N, R with O. So therefore, QR should be what? Sinong katapat niya? Can you tell me? QR is NO. Very good. Okay? So tatapat natin ngayon si NO dyan. So QR is what we want to solve for. Diba? So, paano natin hanapin ngayon si QR? So, thank you, Ali. Thank you, Avery. Or, ano ba? Tama ba? Tell me kung tama ba yung pagkabasa ko. Okay. So, how do we do it now? Remember, mag-corresponding sides are congruent. So, ibig sabihin na to, your MN should be equal to your PQ. Okay? Akit ko lang muna yung figure, yung solution natin. Okay, MN should be equals to PQ, right? So therefore, we can say that 3 times x plus 5 should be equal to your 9 times x minus 1. Diba? Okay? So now, to solve this, I am a big fan of cancellation of common factors. Because as much as possible, I want the computation to be as simple as possible. Yes, and this actually can be solved using ICE. No? Mental calculations can be done here. Okay, but of course, I have to explain to everyone because not necessarily everyone understand how this works. Okay, so that's why I'm here to explain. Okay, so thank you. Just be patient a little. Thank you. So I can divide both sides by 3. So therefore, I will have x plus 5 on the left side. And instead of having 9 divided by 3, I just have 3 as the coefficient outside of the parentheses. Then distribute the 3. No problem, son. Thank you very much. Distributing 3 to the x minus 1, we get 3x minus 3. Okay? So from here, you can move the 3x to the left side. So x minus 3x is now negative 2x. Then negative 3, move the 5 to the left side will be negative 5. Negative 3, negative 5, that's going to be negative 8. So that gives us x to be 4. Pwede pa adjust ng question. Medyo na-cut po kasi sa screen. Okay. The question itself, okay, can you tell me saan ko i-adjust? Left side, right side, which part? Okay? Para mas maayos ko siya. Or both, i-shrink ko ba both? Tell me. Para I know how to adjust. Thank you very much. So x is equal to 4. No? Once we have the value of 4, then we can now solve for QR. How do you solve for QR? QR is basically your NO, right? Your QR is basically your NO. And NO is actually 4 times x plus 1, where your x is actually 4. So therefore, it's 4 times 4 plus 1, or basically 4 times 5, which is going to be 20. Okay? That's why the answer that we have here is actually 20. Letter B. Okay? Sige. Sa right side, wait. Right side ng question? Upper right side. Wait lang. Tell me if this helps. Parang ganyan ba? Is this better? Kita na ba? Okay? Let me know. Okay? Let me know, Adini. Okay na. Okay. So this is better. Okay. Sige. No problem. Okay. So, let's continue then. So, we're good with this question? We're good na? Okay na tayo? Easy level pa to. No? Easy level pa. Ha? Okay. Sige. It's okay. First question pa lang tayo, Jem. First question pa lang tayo. No problem. Naka-record naman to. Naka-record naman to. Okay? So, you can watch it in YouTube. Okay? Thank you, San. No? Ganito talaga ako magturo. No? For those who just attended the first time, this is how I teach. I've taught actually in university. I taught in Ateneo for what? Ilang years yun? 10 years. I taught in Ateneo for 10 years in the math department, in the college math department. And whenever I was the teacher, again, dun sa mga bago, I'm always one of the slowest sa mag-discuss. No? Because I always ensure that my students, as much as possible, that they understand what I am teaching. Okay? Yun. You know what's the main reason behind that? Because before I became a professor in university, I was a tutor. So, because being a tutor, you get to encounter students one-on-one or even small groups. They are more comfortable asking you questions. So I have a better way of knowing how they think, how they analyze. So pag nagdi-discuss na ako sa college ng class, I can see the faces. I can know whether this part normally naintindihan or mas hindi naintindihan. Okay? So that's probably the advantage that I have, no? So, yun. Okay, sige. Ready na tayo sa next example? Okay, next example tayo. Still about congruent triangles and similar triangles. Okay? Tingnan natin, next question. Okay, yan. Paano ang question na ito? Okay, wait, nakatakpan pala ako. Okay, yan. Move lang ako konti muna. Okay, so itong question nito, you have a figure here. Okay, now, ang sinasabi niya dito is that the triangle ABC, I'll move the solution up already. Okay, so triangle ABC is similar to triangle EDC. Find the value of X. So, gusto natin makuha yun. No? So, meron tayong figure na parang ganito. Okay? So, this is your A, B, C, D, E. This is 63 degrees. This is your X. And this is your 28 degrees. Okay? Now, the triangles that are similar here is your triangle ABC, which is a small triangle on the left side, similar to triangle EDC. Tandaan natin, partner yan, corresponding. So here, A corresponds to E, B corresponds to D, C corresponds to C as well. Ganun siya. Okay? Now, dahil similar triangles, so what can we say about the angles ng partners? They should be congruent. Okay? Yung angles are congruent, but the sides, the ratio of the corresponding sides, that's the time that yun yung maging congruent, yung equal na yun. Okay? So, dito, sinasabi natin dito, ang angle, for example, ang meron tayong angle dito is angle BC. Okay? Angle BC. Now, what angle, angle BC, sorry, angle ABC. Okay? This is angle ABC. Measure of angle ABC is 28 degrees. What corresponds to 28 degrees in the triangle EDC? Can you tell me which angle, the measure of which angle corresponds to angle ABC in triangle EDC? Okay? Yeah, you can say angle D also. Yeah, pwede naman din yun. If you want to have more complete para mas ma-picture ng lahat, EDC. But otherwise, it's also angle D. Same thing. So, yan ay 28 degrees. Ibig sabihin na ito, dito, 28 degrees ito. Right? Okay? Now, ang gusto natin ma-solve ay si X. How do you now get X? Can you see the relationship of angle X with respect to the triangle EDC? What do we call that? What do we call angle X with respect to the triangle EDC? Can you tell me? For those who are aware, what is the relationship of angle X? Yes. Yes, I'm if it started. Oh, you're back. Okay, you're here. Okay. So angle X is an exterior angle of the triangle EDC. When you say exterior angle, that means you're going to extend one side of the triangle, which in this case, you extended that side CD. Ito yun. In-extend natin, and the angle that you formed there, that is an exterior angle. Okay? And what can we say about the value of the exterior angle with respect to the interior angles that we have? Ano masasabi natin? Right? Yes. That the exterior angle is actually equal to the sum of the two, what kind of interior angles? Not just any interior angles, but two blank interior angles. What's the key word? What's the word that I did not mention? Two blank interior angles. Yes, Aladdin. Two remote interior angles. Okay? Ano ibig sabihin ng remote? Hindi yan remote control, ha? Hindi remote. Well, technically speaking, tama pa rin na gamitin yung concept ng remote control. Remote. Ano ibig sabihin ng remote? Remote ba? Andun mo mismo mapipinutin? Di ba? Hindi. Di ba? Malayo, di ba? Okay? Or let's say, remote area. Ibig sabihin yan ay malayo. Okay? So, yung mga angles na hindi niya literally katabi. Ang katabi lang niya, ito lang angle ECD. Yan yung angle na katabi niya. So, basta hindi niya katabi, ang tawag natin dun ay remote interior angles. So, therefore, that will be the sum of 63 and 28. That will be your angle X. So, measure of angle X, therefore, that will be 63 degrees plus 28 degrees, which will add up to, your math here, 91 degrees. Okay? Yes, bukid. Okay. Now, question. Let me ask you. This is a simple one. So wait lang. Let me reveal the answer first. Okay. So 91 degrees, which is your letter C. So sana nakuha nyo rin sagot. No? Let me check on your computational skills. How do you add 63 and 28? What if, sir, two triangles that are not similar? Okay, if the two triangles are not similar, given this question, unless it's stated that AB is parallel to DE, then possible pa rin yung gagawin natin. But pag walang binanggit, that means insufficient yung information na binigay sa atin. Because there's no specific relationship that we can assume for them. Okay? So it depends on the provided information. Okay? Sige. Okay, so going back sa sinabi ko, how do you add 63 and 28? No? Yeah, what you can do, very good, Jem. So pwede natin gawin ay instead of like, kasi ginagawa natin pag grade school, ang turo sa atin, 63 plus 28, ganito, right? 3 plus 8 is 11, 1, carry 1. 6 plus 2 is 8 plus 1, so magiging 9, right? That's how you were taught back in grade school. And the last time someone taught you how, hindi ko na kailangan takpan, no? Okay lang takpan, no? So the last time that someone taught you how to add was when? Baka grade 1, grade 2 pa, di ba? Parang ganun, di ba? Okay? So that's why hindi nyo na tutunan ng paano mas solve na mas mabilis. Okay? So actually, if you want to do mental math, the lesser the sinasabi natin, kung kanina nandito si, ano pa, blackout na ako tuloy, na computer science major, di ba? So, the lesser data that you have, that you need, yan ay mas mabilis maaral. Kasi tingnan natin dito, pag ginawa natin yung vertical na solution, 3 plus 8, 11, so you need to remember the 1 here, and you need to remember that you have carried 1. And then 6 plus 2 is 8. You need to remember the 8. And you need to remember to add to the 1 before you can get the 9. So, masyadong maraming multi-step level, kaya minsan mas nakakalito. Now, instead of doing that, what you can do, 63 and 28, isipin natin that yung sinasabi nga dito ni Jem, no? That you add 60 and 20. That should not be a difficult part to you. That will be 80. So, that's one data that you need to remember. And the other would be 3 plus 8. And that will be 11. That's not difficult also. So therefore, dalawang data lang ang kailangan mo maalala. Dalawang number lang, 80 at 11. So 80 plus 11, you get 91. And that should be a lot faster to solve. Okay? Okay? Sige nga. Lahat tayo, try natin mag-add ng mabilis. Tingnan ko nga kung mabilis tayo. Okay? Let me try to give you two numbers, okay? Say 47 plus 85. What's the answer of 47 plus 85? Type on the chat. Tingnan natin kung nakabilis na yung mag-solve. Tingnan natin. Are you fast enough? How many seconds do you need to get to that answer? Try nyo i-apply yung strategy natin. Careful ba? Imbis na 2, 5 yung na-type mo. Nagmamadali. Okay, no problem with that. No? So, pansin nyo, did you try the strategy? 40 and 80, 120. 7 plus 5 is 12. 120 plus 12 is 130. No problem, Ali. Okay? Ganun talaga yan. So, 132. Parang yan, pero Ali, okay lang yan dito. Pero pag sa actual exam, tamang shade mo, letter B pa rin shade mo, hindi letter C. Okay? Ganun lang yan, ha? Okay. So, nakita nyo na how do you add so that you can do it mentally faster. Okay? Ganun lang tayo. Okay? Clear? Okay. Sige. Okay. Now, let me move on to the next one already. Ready na tayo? Okay na tayo? Okay with this question? Okay? Sige. Okay. Again, if you need me to interchange the solution to the top part, you just let me know. I have another layout that I can do that. Okay? So, yun. Okay. So, let's take a look at the next question. No? By the way, I do upload videos about these discussions, although usually I notice that it's better for me to re-record for some questions. No? So, I only record one question per forecast number. Okay? if you want the complete, like ganito, maraming examples, you go to the recording. Okay? So sa YouTube na natin yan. Okay? Sige. Okay. Next natin. Okay. How about this picture? Okay, this question here. Takpan ko na naman yung letter. Okay. So how about this question? Paano tan? Okay. So in the figure, BC parallel to DE. And DE is equal to 16. BC is equal to 24. And CE equals to 9. What is the value of your AE? Okay. How do we get AE here? Okay. So, let's try to draw the figure. So, meron tayong isang bigger triangle and meron tayong isang smaller triangle. Sorry. So, A, B, C, D, E. Okay? At sabi na dito that BC is parallel to DE, so I'll just put arrow like this, meaning to say they are parallel. And then DE is 16. DE, so this is 16 here. And your BC is 24, so this is 24. And CE is 9, so ito raw ay 9. Now, ang hinahanap sa atin ay si AE, so I can put X here. No? So, para natin kukunan kaya natin si X. Okay? Here is where you have to be careful on how to do it. No? On how to do it. First, remember, we have to get the similar triangles that we have. Obviously, the triangles that we have here are similar. Kasi isa ay nasa loob ng isa. Okay? So therefore, because they're like sort of a smaller and a bigger, so that is like a general characteristics of similar triangles. Okay? So, kung similar triangles, sinong similar triangles natin dito? Let's label that, no? So that will be triangle. Let's say, una natin is triangle, yung smaller muna tayo, ADE. No? Triangle ADE is similar to triangle what? Triangle ADE is similar to triangle. Can you help me out? Sige nga. Triangle ADE is similar to triangle. Can you type on the chat? What is the proper coordination? A, B, C. Yes, thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much. So, A, B, C, yun. Okay? So, now that we have the partner triangles, no? So, para alam natin kung paano nyo ngayon sila, yung ratio of the sides are equal or are congruent. Okay? So, doon pa na natin magagawa ito. Okay? Now, ano bang mga sides na meron tayo? Meron tayong DE, meron tayong BC, at meron tayong CE, at pinapahanap natin si AE. So, saan ba dyan ang merong partner? Okay? DE belongs to triangle ADE. Okay? BC belongs to triangle ABC. Magka-partner ba sila? Yes, in this case. Right? So, we can say that the ratio of DE to BC, that's one of the ratio that we can use because they correspond to each other. Okay? Now, ano naman ang possible na another set of corresponding sides ng triangle. Okay? So, ano pa yung information meron tayo? CE ang binigay sa atin. Itong length ng CE na equals to 9 ang binigay sa atin. Now, CE, is it part of a triangle? Is it a side of a triangle? Like the length of CE, is that already one side of a triangle? Can you answer me yes or no? Okay? Is CE, okay? So, Rapzel says not yet. Correct. Okay? It's not yet. It's only a portion of the side. And that's the portion of which side? Can you tell me? Can you label that side? What is the side that has a portion of 9 or portion of CE? That will be, anyone? Can you type? Ano ang meron? Yes, correct. It's AC. Okay? So therefore, we can use that saying that knowing CE, we can get AC. Okay? So AC, therefore, pero hinahanap din natin si AE. AE is actually a side of a triangle ADE. Right? So if we say AE is part of ADE, diba? AE. So therefore, AC, which is what we also have, or what we will have based on what we have in CE. So this is your AC. Kuha natin? So that gives us the equation to solve. Any question muna tayo before I continue? Or maybe, baka naman masyado akong too explaining. Baka naman sobrang dali na ito, na-bored na kayo, gusto nyo na move on to the next question na. Pag ganun, you have to tell me, okay? If this is so okay na, move on na tayo sa next, okay lang. Okay? But I always assume that not everyone understand. Okay? So you have to tell me, okay? Ganun lang ha? Okay. Sige. So, okay lang, pacing. Okay. Good. Okay. Thank you. So para natin solve to, so DE, binigyan natin yung value sa atin ng DE, which is 16, right? And BC is 24. While AE, we label it as X here, and AC, okay, wait lang. Ano na naman sinusabi dito? Wait lang ah. May okay. Wait lang, let me check lang. Hold on everyone. Sige. Okay, so, okay, balik na muna ako dito. Hindi yata ako nakikita. Sinasabi yata parang na recorded na naman daw or something like that. Okay, so, ganitong gagawin natin ngayon, di ba? So, kung X yan, si AC naman is composed of AE plus EC, right? So, which means that ang AE is X, EC is 9. Okay? Kaya ganito lang tayo para ma-solve natin to. Okay? Clear tayo? Okay? So now that we have this equation, okay, then it's just a matter of solving this equation. So normally, ang understand nyo na process is yung tinatawag ninyong cross multiplication. But the cross multiplication, technically speaking, is basically multiply the equation by the LCD. Okay? That's just the shortcut to do so. Ganun lang siya. So, but technically, I just want to let you see lang, no, that it's 24 times X plus 9. That when you distribute that, the effect of it, it's like cross multiplication. So, cross multiplication is only applicable when you have a single fraction on each side of the equation. So, pag more than one fraction doon sa isa, hindi na siya pwedeng cross multiply. So, kailangan na intindihan ninyo yung mismong processes kung bakit natin nagagawa sila so that hindi kayo magkakaroon ng mga common mistakes ng students. Okay? Clear tayo? Okay. So, when we do that, when you distribute the 24 times X plus 9 to each, you'll end up with 16 times X plus 9. And then you end up with 24X. Okay? Kuha tayo? Okay? Then, simplify that, of course, 16x. Now, here is the thing. I will not multiply 16 and 9. Okay? I don't have plans to multiply them. Bakit? Lalo ko mapahirapan sarili ko. Okay, let's take a look. No? Equals to 24x. No? Transpose everything, say, to the right side yung x kasi para positive na yung x natin. So, we'll live here with 16 times 9. 24x minus 16x ay magiging 8x. Diba? 8x. Now, with 8x, ano mangyari? We divide both sides by 8, right? To solve. Oh, tingnan nyo. Pag minultiply ng 16 times 9, anong answer? 144. Ngayon, 144 divided by 8, madali ba yun? Depende sa tao, kung sanay kayo o hindi. Right? But, if you look at the current solution that we have, di ba? Ano man nasabi natin? 16 and 8, you can divide 16 with 8 because they are actually a common factor of 8. Or simply 6 divided by 8 is simply 2. Ano namang, wait lang, sorry. Sinasabi na naman daw na, meron na naman daw violation or whatsoever. I don't know. So therefore, x here will be 2 times 9 or simply 18. Okay? So x here is 18. Okay? Question tayo sa x equals to 18 natin dito. Okay? So, pag x equals to 18, anong pwede natin gawin ngayon? Ang gusto natin makuha ay si AE, which is actually already your x. Okay? Ay, mali. Ay, na-advance. Okay. So, okay na tayo dito. Okay? Paano naging 8? Okay, paano naging 8x? Because 16x dito tayo sa left side, we have 24x here. When you move the 16x to the left, to the right side, di ba? So minus 16x on both sides, 24 minus 16, it will just be 8. Hi, Jezreel. Okay? So nagets natin yung concept, kaya siya naging 8x. Okay? So it's really the process, no? It's really the process. Paano siya naging 16 times x plus 9? Okay, good question. As I said, pag ganito, we distribute that to each term that we have. So when you distribute that, what we'll end up with 24 times x plus 9 times 16 over 24. Anong lalabas yan? 24 and 24 cancel each other, kaya matitira si x plus 9 tsaka si 16. Okay? So I hope I answered your question. Hokiekling. Parang tama yan. Okay? So sana nagets yan. Okay? Question, clarification tayo dito? Anything? Okay na tayo with forecast question number 19? Okay? Sige. So if okay na tayo dito, now we move on to the next question. Okay? Question number 20. Okay? Question number 20 na tayo next. Yun. Question number 20 will be about quadrilaterals and polygons. So yung mga characteristics ng mga quadrilaterals like square, rhombus, rectangle, like parallelogram, trapezoid, yun yung mga kailangan natin maalala about the relationship of the sides, relationship of their angles, and whether they're parallel sides or not. No? Yes, it's magic ball. Mga parallel sides or not, and also about their what? Anong tawag natin doon? Anong tawag natin yung sa gitna? Sige nga. Anong tawag natin sa gitna? Yung let's say, if you have this, what do you call this? Anyone? Anyone? Hello? Hindi. Ito. Itong nasa gitna na to. Itong line na to, diagonal. Yes, Fiona. Very good. Okay? So also the relationship about their diagonals. Okay? Sometimes whether they are, what kind of relationship, kung whether they're congruent, or kung perpendicular sila, etc. Okay? Yun yung mga yun. Ha? Okay. Now, let's move on to example about 20. And also, about polygons naman, itong normally about regular polygons. About the interior angles of polygons, exterior angle of polygons, the sum of the interior angles of polygons. Yan yung mga crucial dyan. Okay? And rarely, yung the number of diagonals. Okay? Bihirang-bihira yun. Pero, kaya hindi natin masyado na in-include dito, but more on the angles. Okay? Sige. Okay, let's take a look at the example question that we have here. Okay? So, how do we go about here, no? In this question? Wait lang ha. Let me just check lang kung ano kaya yung possible na sinasabi sa akin. Okay. Okay. Sige. Double check lang ako. Thank you very much. Wait lang ha. Okay, bahala na. Let's see. Okay, so question number 20, which is about quadrilaterals and polygons. Okay, this question here. If each interior angle of a certain regular polygon measures exactly 144 degrees, what is the specific geometric name of this polygon? Okay? How do we answer this kind of question? Okay? May idea ba sa atin dyan? Kung may idea kayo, you can type on the chat. Okay? I want to see how you answer this type of question. Okay? What do we need to be able to get to the question, to get to the solution? Okay, Jem, wala pang idea. Okay? Anyone? The others? Yung mga nakapagsagot na dyan, meron ba? Bago ko mag-answer reveal. Parang ganun. Okay? Meron ba tayo dyan? Anyone? Any idea? Meron ba tayo? Okay. Sige. Haba po? I'll tell you. I'll show you first the concept. I'll show you first kung paano normal nyo ginagawa. Tapos parang kukulat na kayo, ay, ganun lang pala yun. This can be answered in less than 10 seconds? Baka 5 seconds pa nga. Okay? So first, ang understanding siguro natin, okay, first is that meron kayong interior angle, the interior angle of a regular polygon. Paano ba natin nakukuha ang interior angle of a regular polygon? No? Paano natin ba kinukuha? Hi, SK. Okay? How do we get that? No? So, what's the formula? For example, alam ko kung ano yung formula ginagamit natin. No? So, the interior angle of a regular polygon, you can get the sum of the interior angles of a polygon, parang ganun, which is going to be n minus 2 times 180 degrees, diba? That's the sum of the interior angles of a polygon, right? And because it's a regular polygon, meaning to say all the sides and interior angles are all congruent. That's why, kaya nga regular tawag sa kanya, no? That's why we divide this with number of sides, which is n, at yan ay dapat magiging equals to 144. Right? Ganito ba ang solution natin? If yes, can you type yes? Ang ganitong ginawa natin doon sa mga nag-try mag-answer. Okay? If no, meron pa kayo ibang solution, can you tell me meron pa ibang solution? And maybe you can share your solution. I want to know. Okay? I want to know lang. Okay? So far, Fiona said yes. How about the others? Ganito rin ba solution or no idea talaga? Parang, ay, ngayon ko lang na-encounter itong question na ito. Okay? No problem. Okay? Meron pa ba ibang ganitong solution natin? Okay? Sige. Let's continue with this solution first so that makita lang natin paano sagutan. Okay? If you answer it this way. So, if you answer it this way, ano nang gagawin natin dito? So, therefore, we multiply everything, say, by n. So, sa left side of the equation, mawawala na yung denominator. So, magiging n minus 2 times 180 degrees. And the right side, that will be 144 degrees n. Parang ganun. No? Parang ganyan. Okay? And then, anong gagawin natin? Distribute natin sa 180 sa n minus 2. So we now have 180 n minus 2 times 180 or simply 360. So okay lang nang multiply yan. So 144 n. Then, we move the 144n to the left side. 180 minus 144 will give us 36n. And right side will be negative 360, move, will become positive 360. And then divide both sides with 36 to get your n, and therefore will be equal to 10. Okay? So, this solution, sige nga, how many seconds do you need to solve it like this? Can you type? Will this take you 10 seconds? Enough na ba? 20 seconds? 30 seconds? Ilang seconds kailangan nyo para masagutan nyo to? A lot. A lot. Okay. So this is the normal way kasi nga, ang binigay sa iyo na information is about what? Is about your interior angle. Kaya syempre, ang automatic na mindset natin, ang naiisip natin, yung interior angle. Right? But think outside the box. Ano yun? Okay? If you have an interior angle, there is a corresponding partner. What's the partner of the interior angle? Na-encounter natin kanina at the start. Ano yung partner ng interior angle? Yung nasa labas ng polygon. Anong tawag natin doon? Anyone? Exterior angle. Thank you, Fiona. So, exterior angle. No, exterior angle. Now, tell me, what's the relationship of the interior angle with the exterior angle? Anong relationship meron sila? They are actually called, or they add up to, ganun na lang, para mas mabilis. They add up to what? Interior angle plus the corresponding exterior angle, they add up to the value of Supplementary, yes, they add up to 180 degrees. Lahat pa nagets natin yan. If for example, sabihin natin na meron kang isang figure na pentagon, ganito. Okay? When is the exterior angle? Yung side na ito, extend mo, ito yung exterior angle. Kaya they add up to 180 degrees. Okay? Or supplementary. Thank you very much for answering. Okay? Now, if that's the case, can you tell me what is the measure of the exterior angle of this polygon? What's the measure of each exterior angle of this polygon? Each advanced kind of yun. Okay? It will have to be 180 minus 144 or simply 36 degrees. Tama? Bawat isa. Bawat isa. Then now, let me ask you, how many degrees, regardless of the type of polygon, is the sum of the exterior angles? Okay? The sum of the exterior angles of a polygon. Yes, Rapsel. Okay? It's actually 360 degrees fixed. Fixed yan. Hindi siya nagbabago. Okay? And because of that, instead of going the path of interior angle, I would rather that we go the path of exterior angle. You get me? Kasi dahil, pag alam nyo na exterior angle, each exterior angle is 36, we can simply divide 360 with 36, right? Kasi bawat isang exterior angle is 36. So, ilang 36 pa meron dyan? 360 divided by 36 ay 10. So, alam natin meron tayong 10 exterior angles. Ibig sabihin, meron tayong 10 interior angles. Or, ibig sabihin, meron tayong 10 sides sa polygon na ito. Yes, Fiona. Mas madali. Kaya sabi ko kanina, doable in less than what? In less than 5 seconds. If you approach it the right way. Okay? Naintindihan natin? So, if you approach it like this, actually ako parati kong na-approach using the exterior angle because it's easier. Okay? So, 10 sides, alam na natin kaagad ang sagot natin dito ay si decagon. Okay? Edi syempre, kailangan alam nyo rin yung term, ha? Pag di nyo alam yung mga tawag nila, o di wala rin kayo masasagot dito. Right? Okay? Pero hindi naman siguro kaya kahirap. Decagon, decade. That's a prefix, no? Para for 10. Okay? Octagon, octopus, kasi 8 na tentacles, di ba? Okay? Ganun lang siya. Okay? Nakuha natin yung approach natin dito, yung strategy. Okay ba tayo? Pag nagustuhan nyo naman yan, mag-heart naman kayo at mag-share naman kayo. Okay? Okay? So, I'm not really asking for any gift because I know that you're all students, so I don't need that. I just need some support lang. Parang ganun. Okay? And share to your friends, especially for those who are say in public school or maybe those who cannot afford to review, no? So, yun. Sana ma-share nyo sa kanila para matulungan natin sila. Okay? Thank you, Jem. Thank you. Okay? So, ganun lang yung concept natin dito, no? Yes. Thank you, July with ACTS, no? Also, no? So, that's how we actually teach in ACTS. Ganito kami dito. So, what about heptagon and hexagon? What's the term? Okay. Hexagon, that's 6-sided. Hex is 6. Then 7 is hepta. Lahat na ito kasi yung mga prefix niyan ay nag-start pa yan sa previous na language pa na ginagamit dyan. Okay? Kaya doon lang. Tinatanong niya, si SK, magaling ka ba sa math? Si SK siguro. No? Okay, yun. Ako naman actually, when I was younger, no, my favorite subject is actually not math. Do you believe that? My favorite subject was not math. My favorite subject was history. No? Was history. Yun yung pinaka-favorite ko. Especially history of China. Okay? I think naman siguro nakikita niyo naman itsura ko, no? Parang yung mata ko sobrang, di ba? Parang wala na kayo nakikita sa mata ko. Okay? So I'm a Filipino-Chinese, no? I'm a Filipino-Chinese. I studied in Chiang Kai-shek College in high school, no? So siguro alam natin na siguro kahit paano yung background ng school namin na pagdating sa math. So I was representing my school for inter-school math competitions during my time also. So there. Yun. And yeah, so, thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. Sana meron, no? Pero wala. Sana meron. Science, I'm more on handling probably physics and chem, more on the computation side also. No? Mas doon yung expertise ko. Pag sa biology and earth science, yun naman sa wife ko. My wife was a BS biology graduate in LaSalle. She also taught in LaSalle also before. And she also mastered in environmental science. So siya naman doon. But other than that, we also, because in my center, yun naman mga ibang teachers namin, they handle the other subjects. So we're still working on maybe hoping, but not siguro this year. Maybe next year we can do more involving the other subjects na rin. Okay? So we'll see. We'll see. But baka hindi pa sa batch ninyo siguro. Okay? So nag-experiment pa kami. So we're still learning from here. So kaya nga you help us out here. Kung nag-viral na tayo dito, siguro baka mas pwede natin na madagdagan yung mga iba pa. Okay? As of now, wala pa tayong live sa bio. Okay, wala pa tayong live sa bio about this. Okay, we have our review of our own, no? So, if for those who might be interested to attend review classes, meron pa kaming parang pinaka final mock test review. So the student will take the mock test and then we'll discuss the answers to the mock test also. Okay, we have that face-to-face. We also have online for that. So if you're interested, you just message us. Okay? You can message the center or you can message me also. Either way. Okay? Sige. Okay, let's now continue for another example here. Tingnan natin na. Next one tayo. Paano to? Nako. Mga sagot pa lang na may square root of 3. Hindi ba parang, nakahirap na to. No? Okay, let's take a look at this question. A regular hexagon has a perimeter of 36 centimeters. What is the exact area in centimeter squares of this regular hexagon? Gem, it's not free for now. Last year, nag-offer kami ng free na exam lang. Okay? But so far, as of now, wala pang ganun. But if you are, say, from a public school or talagang cannot afford or something, message me. I'll see what I can do. Okay? Sige. Just message me lang. Okay? I might be able to do something out of it. Okay? So, yun. Paano natin sasagutin tong question ito? Binigay sa atin ang perimeter ng polygon, which is a hexagon. How do we get now the area? Paano yan? Di ba mahirap? Sige nga. Meron na ba nakakaisip ng direction on how to solve this? Can you type? Okay? Can you type? Inom lang ako ng water lang saglit. Meron na ba nakakaisip ng approach dito? Meron na ba? Parang wala pa. Okay? Now, look. You have, tunan yung information. Meron na yung regular hexagon. At yun lang, skip na lang, wag din naman, kaya naman ito. No? Pag may regular hexagon tayo, what's so special about regular hexagon? Diba, wala naman tayong information, anything else. Yun lang eh. So, what's so special about regular hexagon? Diba? And what can you recall? What can you solve when you have a regular hexagon? You can get the length of each side kasi hexagon. So 6 sides, 36 for each side is 6. Diba? But aside from that, ano yung next direction to that? Diba? What kind of figure do we have when you have a regular hexagon? Paano natin malalaman? No? So, ano ba yung alam natin when we talk about regular hexagon? Ano lang ba yung tinuro natin sa school or maybe dito kay Ian Robert? So far, ang meron natin, it's about your interior angles and exterior angles lang. Okay? Yes, Zaya, very good. Wait, no. No, the other one pala yung tama yata. Hindi si Zaya. Okay? So, paano natin malalaman? No? Ano yung mga ganun? So, let's try to solve for the angles here so that we can determine what kind of figure do we actually have. No? So, sabi natin, pagka hexagon, can you get, how do we solve for the interior angle of a hexagon? each interior angle of a hexagon. Gagawin ba natin yung formula n minus 2 over n? Okay? Ano gagawin natin? To get the exterior angle will be what? 360 divided by how many sides do we have? We have 6 sides, right? So pag meron tayong 6 sides, therefore, 360 divided by 6, we get 60 degrees. So ano yung 60 degrees na ito? This is the measure of your exterior angle. If 60 degrees is your exterior angle, tell me on the chat, what's the measure of each interior angle of the regular hexagon? What's the measure here? Yes, thank you, Aladdin. Yes, thank you, Fiona. So it's actually 120 degrees. So let's try to have the picture of that. So kung meron kang hexagon, okay, kahit na not drawn to scale ito, no? Parang ganyan. Yan yung hexagon, more or less. Ma-picture lang natin konting itsura. So pag sinabi 120 degrees, ito yung 120 degrees, di ba? Yan yung, wait, hindi nyo makita. Yan yung 120 degrees, di ba? Isang ganyan. So, paano ba natin sinusolve ang isang hexagon? Meron ba tayong area of hexagon na formula? Di ba? Wala. Right? We don't have a formula for a hexagon. Or a regular hexagon for that matter. But, remember, all these polygons, di ba? All these polygons, nanggaling siya sa lahat sa isang, anong shape? Lahat na ito. We can draw them into what we call triangles. Diyan naman nanggaling ang formula ng sum of the interior angles of a polygon. Ganun din naman nanggaling. So you can see here, if this is 120 degrees, pwede tayo mag-form ng ganito. Ilang triangles yan? 6 na triangles. Okay? We can form 6 triangles. And with these 6 triangles, you will notice each triangle, anong measure ng bawat isang angle dito? Kung 120 itong buo, it will now be bisected into 2. So that means each of this will be 60 degrees, 60 degrees. Kita nyo ba? Okay? 60 degrees. So pag 60, 60, ano yung third angle? It's also, what? 60 degrees. And we call this triangle to be, what kind of triangle is this? This is now an, mahirap, mahaba i-type, no? Equilateral triangle. Oh, now, if you have an equilateral triangle, do you know how to get the area of an equilateral triangle? Alam nyo ba paano kinukuha ang area ng isang equilateral triangle? We can derive it, pero kung alam nyo na paano na-derive, meron na tayong isang sort of formula na siya. Okay? Pwede nyo ma-derive kayo using the 30, 60, 90 right triangle. Okay? So that is depending if you already know or not. If you don't know yet, then let me give you the shortcut formula for that. So the area of an equilateral triangle, that will be, okay, lagyan natin ganyan, no? Para alam natin equilateral siya. That will be square root of 3 over 4 s squared. So the square root of 3 over 4 s squared. S being the side of the triangle. You don't need the Heron formula for this one pa naman. Pero pwede din naman gamitin pa rin yun. No problem. But this is for any equilateral triangle, it's square root of 3 over 4 s squared. Kaya naging square root of 3 over 4 kasi yan square root of 3 over 2 tsaka 1/2 using the 30, 60, 90 right triangle. Doon na-derive. Okay? So you can choose either memorize this formula or balikan natin para ma-derive natin yon. Pwede rin naman. Kaya ba if algebra pa lang ako? Yes. Ang tanong kung gaano kadalas ka nag-aaral ngayon. Okay? So yun lang yun. Okay? Hindi naman, anything is possible. Okay? Kung sabihin nga natin si Alex Ayala, di ba? From the Philippines na hindi naman tennis nation, nakapasok siya hanggang 4th round of a Grand Slam tournament. Bakit hindi tayo pwede mangarap? Pero tanda natin, ilang taon pa lang siya, nag-start na siya mag-training. So, hindi siya basta-basta. Okay? So, ganyan din tayo. So, depende na lang kung hanggang saan tayo aabot. Okay? Sige. Okay, now, let's continue. So, if we just use this formula for now, or you want, I can also derive it for you if you want to. Just let me know. Okay? So, dito, since each side, di ba, is 6, di ba? Each side, kanina, na-complete natin, 6, di ba? So, therefore, we get now square root of 3 over 4 times 6 square is the area of each triangle. Right? Right? Eh, ilang triangles meron tayong ganito? Meron tayong 6. Right? So, pwede natin solve muna ito para hindi ka mahirapan. Sorry. 6 square is 36, divided by 4 is 9, times square root of 3 is 9 square root of 3. Okay? Now, because you have 6 triangles like this, so therefore, it will be 6 times 9 square root of 3. Kaya ang answer natin ay 54 square root of 3. Okay? Gets natin ito? Kuha ba natin? Ano naman dyan? Wait lang. Kailangan natin ng konting, pampagising. Okay? Okay? May ganito naman konti. Yan. Okay, sanay lang. Papaus na. Okay. So, where did 6 come from? Which 6? Itong 6 na to? Okay? Because in the hexagon, you have 6 triangles. At bawat isang triangle, ang area niya is 9 square root of 3. So, dahil 6 na ganun, to get the area of the hexagon, we simply multiply the area of a triangle by 6. Okay. The 6 square. Okay. Because s squared. Each side of the hexagon is what? Remember from the given natin dyan that the perimeter of the hexagon is 36. And how many sides do we have in a hexagon? We have 6 sides. Dahil regular siya, so each side is congruent. Di ba? So 36 divided by 6. So therefore, each of side here is actually 6 each. Doon nakuha yung 6 na yun. That's why we multiply 6 square. Forever. Now, saan naman nanggaling si 360? Because the sum of the exterior angles of any polygon will always be 360 degrees. That's why 360, we divide that by 6 sides, we get 60 degrees for each exterior angle of the polygon. Okay? And 60 degrees is the exterior, therefore the interior will be 180 minus 60 or 120 degrees. Okay? Now, paano naging 9 daw dito? So, kaya naging 9 na to, 6 square is 36, divided by 4, kaya magiging 9. Kaya 9 square root of 3. Okay? So, it's just a matter of the computations. Okay? So, sagot natin ay, pakita natin yung sagot. Okay. Ay, lumampas na kagad. Okay. So, that's letter A, 54 square root of 3. Okay? May question pa tayo? May katanungan pa? Or we're good so far? Okay? So, again, please feel free to share or you can also follow me, no? That you can help me also para mas marami tayong matulungan. No? What's the difference between science and physics? Physics is a branch of science. Is that if that's the question that you're talking about? Okay? So, di ko sure. Yung ganun ba yung question natin? Okay? Sige. Okay. Let's now go on to the next example. Ready, everyone? Okay. Another question about quadrilaterals and polygons, I believe. Okay. Yan. Okay. This one is actually easy. Yes, actually, if you look at the ticker there, I have already posted the first 3 sessions. That's up to question number 12. I should be able to post probably by tomorrow or Friday the previous 2 sessions, session 4 and session 5. And then this session 6, probably more or less around that time na rin siguro. Okay? So we have different answers. For those who tried to answer this question, so, okay, so C daw. Okay? But meron pang mga ibang answers, mayroon din other answer. So, how do we know which one? No? Actually, this question is not that complicated. Okay? We just need to know how to approach it. Okay? Let's take a look. So, the question here states that the ratio of two consecutive angles of parallelogram is 2:7. What is the measure of the largest angle of the parallelogram? Now, what will be the characteristics of the angles of a parallelogram? Okay, that's we have to know. If it's a parallelogram, that means that opposite sides are actually parallel. Okay, opposite sides are parallel. And if opposite sides are parallel, what can we say about the consecutive angles? When you say consecutive angles, these are the angles that are, I wouldn't say adjacent, but they're like the next angle within that, the next interior angle in that particular polygon. Okay? So, anong masasabi natin dito sa dalawang to? What do we call that? If you have parallel lines and you have the transversal and what do you call this? Pag nandyan transversal, tapos pareho sila nandito, ang tawag natin dyan, they're called the, what? Okay? First, because they're within the two parallel lines, so that's why they're called interior. Okay? And because they're on the same side of the parallel, same side of the transversal, they're called the interior angles on the same side. Okay? And if they're interior angles on the same side, the relationship is, yes, Rapzel, that's actually supplementary. Okay? They're supplementary. So that means they add up to 180 degrees. Okay? Since it says here that the ratio is 2:7, so it's like if you're more algebraic approach in terms of mindset, you can think of it as this is your 2x, this is your 7x. You can think of it like that if you're more algebraic. Okay? But if you're more ratio person, you can say 2 parts, 7 parts, the total of these two will have to be 9 parts. If it's 9 parts and the sum is 180 degrees, so what can we say? That's going to be 180 degrees divided by 9 parts. That means each part is actually 20 degrees. And if 20 degrees is each part, therefore, one of them, the ratio 2 will be 2 times 20 degrees. That's going to be 40. The other one is 7 times 20 degrees is 140 degrees. Okay? So obviously, the angles will be 40, 140, 40, 140. So the largest angle that we can have here, therefore, it has to be your letter C, 140 degrees. Okay? Clarification or any question with regards to our approach here to the solution? May katanungan ba? May anything that you'd like me to go over? Clarification or even violent reactions? Meron ba dito? Ha? Okay. Oh. Sige nga. Meron ba tayo? Wala. Okay na tayo. So if you're good na, can you type good so that we'll move on to the next, if it's either the next question or the next topic. Okay? So again, for those who just came in, okay, I have here our fearless forecast from Axe Achin I Incorporated for our UPCAT math proficiency. So right now, I'm at question number 20. So we have discussed previous 19 questions already. This session we started at 19. The previous 1 to 18 we have it done already. You can look at our YouTube channel. Just look for Aya Robert in the YouTube channel. Okay? So we uploaded some of them already. We'll upload the next few in a few days. Okay? So question number 20 in the UPCAT math proficiency. Again, let me check if you are aware or not. How many UPCAT math proficiency questions will you have in the UPCAT? How many questions do you expect to have? Do you know? For those who know, can you type on the chat? For those who don't know, I don't know. How many? Ayan, nako. Iba-iba sagot. Paano yan? Oh, nako. Allah. Okay. Yun nga eh. See, it's very important that well, actually, that's what review does, actually. Now, review helps you to be able to know, to be more mentally prepared, emotionally prepared, as like, hindi kayo magugulat na, ay, ilang questions pala, ay, ganito pa yung time pressure, ay, may ganitong topic pala kasama sa test. No? That's what review can do. No? Mas hindi na kayo parang mga ngapa pa. No? Especially nowadays, ang daming mga resources online. No? Sabihin nyo na, oh, ang dami namang mock test online. Yun ang gagamitin ko. But the problem is, are these mock tests reliable or not? How close are they really with the actual? Okay? So that's the ultimate question. May kita nyo minsan may mga mock test na sobrang dali. Meron namang mga iba, ang hirap naman. Alin ba talaga dito? So parang kung sabihin nila pareho silang UPCAT mock test, bakit ganyan yung level of difficulties nila? So kaya kailangan talaga yung authority. Parang ano lang yan? When you're looking for news, di ba? Anong ginagawa natin? Do you just believe any post on social media? Di ba? Hindi. You go to your kung ano yung mga authority in news. Maybe you look for CNN for international news, parang ganyan. Kung sinabi doon, bago ka maniniwala. Diba? Ganun. So parang ganyan din naman sa review. Okay? So that's what I'm doing here. If you want to see the exact, like how many items of each, what are different sections, it's actually on the first session. You can watch the first video that we have. Okay? So, but for math proficiency, let me reveal here, it's 45 questions for the UPCAT math proficiency. And how many minutes for the 45 questions? You will have 55 minutes. Okay? 55 minutes for 45 questions. Okay? Now, furthermore, for the 45 questions here, let me give you a background here lang. 45 questions actually, nag-start yan after the pandemic. So it's a post-pandemic. Before the pandemic, hindi siya 45. Okay? Kaya minsan may makikita kayo mga mock test na ibang number, that's pre-pandemic pa. Okay? So it's post-pandemic, it's 45 questions. So at least for the past 2 years. 2 years. Okay? So ganun yung picture. Okay? Sige. Okay, so let's now, so more or less pa-halfway na tayo, ha? Pa-halfway na tayo. Okay? Sige, let's now take a look at the next question pa. Meron pa tayong 2 more questions pa yata in this topic. Okay? Sige nga, ito, about characteristics. Yan yung pinaka nakakainis, no? Parang mga ganitong questions. Eh, hindi ko naman memorize lahat. So, kaya kailangan maintindihan natin. Okay? Before the pandemic, I believe if my memory is correct, it's 60 questions. Okay? 60 questions before the pandemic. And that's 70 minutes back then. Okay? So, iba yung number of items. Binawasan nila because of the pandemic, because of mental health issues. Masyadong mahaba. Dati ang UPCAT mismo, the whole UPCAT itself, the exam itself, without any breaks, that's 4.5 hours. Okay? 4.5 hours. Okay? Generally, we'll have all 45 questions. But as you can see, per question, may mga, per topic, kumbaga, meron tayong mga several examples for that. Okay? We research our questions. We research from the past. Everything is based on the past. So if anything that comes up is totally new, that's beyond anyone's control. Ganun lang talaga. Okay? Sige. Okay, let's take a look at this question 20.5. So ano ba yan? A, B, C, or D? Ako may mga sagot na dito, no? Yes? Okay? So let's try. So consider a rhombus. You know what's a rhombus? Right? Rhombus, it's a quadrilateral. Okay? It's a quadrilateral. That, what's the definition? It's a quadrilateral that you have congruent sides. Yun lang ang characteristics niya. We don't know about the angles. We only know that the sides are congruent. Okay? So like a square is a special kind of rhombus. Ganun lang siya. Okay? Now, gusto niya dito is that which of the following statements about its properties must always be true? No? Which one? So number 1, the diagonals are perpendicular to each other and bisect the interior angles. So you need to know the characteristics. Actually, yes, here, that the diagonals actually bisect each other and perpendicular. Just like, sabi nga natin sa iba dito, nagsabi dito na kite. Diba? Pag sa kite, diba, mayroon sa gitna na ganun. So you can use that to help you to remember. Okay? You can use that to help you to remember. So 1 is correct. Okay? And bisect angles, yes, because the angles here are congruent. So dito rin naman magiging congruent. Nababisect din yan. Okay? Now, next. Number 2. Consecutive angles are supplementary and opposite angles are congruent. Okay? Now, because of that, no, so consecutive angles will always be supplementary because this is actually a parallelogram as well. They're actually opposite parallel sides then. So it's actually a parallelogram also. Okay? So that's why number 2 is definitely right for any parallelogram. Okay? There. Okay. Hold on, Ethan. Don't. Let's go over everything. No? Number 3, the diagonals are equal in length. Okay? Are the diagonals equal in length? Okay? The diagonals are not necessarily equal. Okay? They're not necessarily equal because the angles are not, the angles on the interior angles are not necessarily equal. So kaya yung mga sides na, kaya yung mga diagonals niya, pwedeng mas mahaba isa mas maikli. Okay? So that's why the answer here will have to be just 1 and 2 only, or your letter C. Okay? Or your letter C. So I hope for those who are asking, tama ba o mali? Now, you know kung anong tama at ano ang mali. Okay? So, these properties, you have to know them by heart. You have to understand them para pagdating sa exam, naglabas ng ganito, magasagutin natin. Pag hindi, then you move on. Make a guess or move on na tayo. Okay? Yay, ma-point na rin. Okay? So, wala kasi competition. So, somewhat, you just have to understand and, di ba? Yun. What makes a diagonals unequal? Because not necessarily that the angles here are actually congruent. So because of that, kaya yung mga ito, pwedeng isang mas mahaba, isang mas maikli. Okay? But the sides will still be, kumbaga pwedeng mas slant sila. No? So therefore, ito kasi mas square, parang ano na siya eh. Pwede siya mas slant, so therefore mas mahaba, mas maikli. Okay? So that's the main reason behind that. Okay? Sige. Okay. I think one last question here about this one. Okay? And I believe this has computation na. Yan. Computation na to. Masagutan ba natin to? Ay, wait. Takpan ko pala. Okay. So, paano tong sagutin? Okay? Paano natin sagutin to? Let's take a look. Tingnan nga natin. Basahin ko, pero you try to solve it as well. Okay? So, triangle WAX is inscribed in rectangle WXYZ, no? So, yun, ito yung triangle WAX, itong, yan. Okay? Yan. Now, such that A, merong gustong mag-guess? Wait, sorry. Unless that you have any question that you like to mention, otherwise, I will not accept for those who want to join live, no? So that, yun. But if you have questions that you like to voice out, I can add you for clarification purposes. Okay? So, so in rectangle WXYZ, such that A is the midpoint of ZY and WX is equal to 2XY. If WA equals the square root of 2, what is the perimeter of the triangle WZY? Huh? Oh, how many are like, skip, type there. How many say, I'll skip this question? Oh, anyone? Anyone who wants to skip this question? Okay. Oh, should we discuss already? Are we good? So, King Clary says skip. Well, sometimes it's too easy for us to think of skipping. Okay? Letter E, siguro. Sa Lasal lang ang may letter E. But in UP, in Ateneo, in UST, you only have 4 choices. Yes, I know. I understand naman. Okay. Mahirap ang mangopya, no? Okay, let me cover it and let's draw it out here. Okay? Sige. So, let me just draw the figure first. Okay. So, we have here, wait, let me just draw it properly. And then we have we have this. Okay. W, X, Y, Z, and you have your A here. Okay. Now, in this figure, okay, let's try to understand this, no? Let's try to understand. Sige, hold on, Fiona, okay? WX inscribed in in rectangle WXYZ such that A is the midpoint of ZY. So A is the midpoint, that means this is congruent to this side. Okay? Yun pala malalaman natin dyan, no? Now, WX is equal to 2XY. WX is equal to 2XY. So we don't have any variables yet, but we can use one of them. We can choose one of them. Say, for example, huwag natin gamitin na si X or si Y kasi nandyan na sila. Right? Let's try to use the letter U. No? So if we let this to be U, WX should be twice of your XY, which is U. So WX will now be 2U. Agree? Okay? Okay. Now, furthermore, because WX is 2U, then ZY is also 2U. Right? 2U. Okay? Therefore, AZ and AY are also just U. Do you agree? And how about WZ? Because XY is U, WC should also be U because it's a rectangle. Correct? Tuyo na utak ko. Okay. Wag naman, kayang-kaya pa to. Eh, di ba? If you really want to get in UP, no? If you really want to get in UP, this is an honest opinion. Okay? Let me share this honest opinion. Huh? The questions that you are seeing, okay, are not even as difficult as what you will see when you get into UP. Yung pinaka-basic na math, 17, mga ganun. Hindi ganitong level, madali pa to. Okay? So kung ito, nahihirapan na tayo, then think twice if you really want to get into UP. Nag-gets na sinasabi natin? Okay? Kaya you treat this as your warm-up to get into UP. Because once you get in, it's gonna be harder than what you are preparing right now. Okay? Think of that. So if I really want to get in, that's a consequence. Parang ganun lang siya. Okay? Kaya? Okay. Now, so meron tayong lahat represent by U. Now, ang sinasabi dito is that if WA is equals to square root of 2, so square root of 2 daw ito. So this is square root of 2. Okay? What is the perimeter of the triangle WZY? So WZY. Now, look. Actually, pag square root of 2 ito, no? What you notice here, this is what kind of triangle? Let me use white here. What kind of triangle is this? Okay? Because the two legs are actually the same. Therefore, this is a, yes. Yes, yan. No, this is actually a 45, 45, 90 or isosceles right triangle. Okay? Not just any right triangle, but isosceles right triangle. So therefore, because of that, this is a very special right triangle, right? For those who attended our topic before about special right triangle, so the sides would be ratio as 1, 1, square root of 2. So because this is square root of 2, that means automatically I can say that this should be 1 and this should be 1 because that's the basic ratio nila. Okay? So if that's 1, this is also 1, then this whole thing is 2, this is 1. Get a line picture. Okay? Now, with the triangle that we have, that we want to solve for the perimeter, the triangle WZY, this is Z, this is W, this is Y. WZ is 1, ZY is 2, right? Now, if you want to get the perimeter, you still need to get the hypotenuse, the third side. To get the hypotenuse, that will be the square root of 1 square plus 2 square, or simply, the square of 1 is 1, the square of 2 is 4, 1 plus 4 is square root of 5. Diba? Mahirap ba? Not necessarily. If you know how to analyze the problem, actually, kaya to. Okay? So now that you have the three sides, you just need to add the three sides to get the perimeter. So 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 plus square root of 5 will be your perimeter. Okay, that will now be your perimeter. Kaya ang sagot natin dito ay si letter C. Yes. Oh, di ba? Tingnan natin. Mahirap pang isolve. Not necessarily if you know how to approach the question. Okay? Ang mahirap sa atin dyan is, nakita natin question, pero hindi natin ma-translate from the words to the figure here, so hindi kayo makakonect. Okay? Yun yung nagiging concern natin. Hindi makakonect yung mismong, hindi nyo ma-translate from words to figure to words, parang ganun. Okay? But how can you do that? No? That comes from experience. Okay? Parang sinabi lang natin yan na, okay, pag nakita nyo na to, next time, may idea na kayo na pwedeng ganito ang gagawin natin. Right? Wait lang, may question dito. Saan po nanggaling yung 1? Wait lang, ano yung 1 to the 1? 1 square. And this is Pythagorean theorem, right? The side of the hypotenuse, right, is equals to the square of this and the square of this. Doon nanggaling. Yes, Pythagorean theorem. Okay? That's how we get to the side. Yes. Okay? Pwede rin yung, hindi naman siya basic ratio po ng 45, 45, 90. Yung dun sa unang triangle natin. Yes. Okay? So yun. Anyway, so what we're talking about here, okay, is that your experience matter. So the more questions that you see, the higher the chance that you will be able to recall, or you have sort of like, alam nyo yung parang you have like your strategies on how to approach each type of question. Okay? That's why practice will really be needed. But hindi siya blind practice. Ibig sabihin, nakuha to, nakuha niyo sagot. Okay. Nakita niyo na sinagutan ko ng ganitong question. So the next time, you will just look at this question and then just memorize the steps. No. Okay? Because in the actual exam, the questions can change. Okay? And by the way, all the questions that I'm showing you are past questions. I mean, not necessarily exactly, but they're patterned after the past questions in the actual UPCAT. Okay? So, ganyan yung more or less na makikita yung difficulty level. But again, meron din mga easy level na questions possible lumabas. But it's gonna be a mixed. Okay? Yes, Pythagorean, yes, no? No problem. Yes, everything looks complicated at first. Math looks complicated at first. But you know what? Math only looks complicated. But if you know how to approach math, math always has a fixed answer. Okay? Just like what I have been telling those who have been attending the classes, no? Mas madali pa mag-solve ng math kaysa pumasok sa isang relationship. Ang math, meron kang fixed solution. Sa relationship, wala. Right? Today, ito yung ginawa mo, tama. Masaya kayo. Tomorrow, yung pa rin ginawa mo, mali na yung ginawa mo, ba't mo inulit na lang? Dito na naman tayo. Dito na naman tayo kakain. Ito na naman gagawin natin, boring ka na kasama. Right? So it's gonna be different. Okay? That's why, if you really want to get into a relationship seriously, do math first. Okay? So you have to learn how to deal with math, which are fixed answers, before you go to something that is not fixed. Okay? That's the advice from Aya Robert. Okay? Yun. So, I'm always mixing math with love, with life, no? As much as possible para makarelate kayo kahit na paano. Okay. So, ready na tayo for the next type of question? Are we still up for it? Gising ba tayo? Okay pa kayo? Or pagod na kayo? Anything? Question. If that triangle is 45, 45, 90, which triangle? The WZY? Is that what you're telling about? That's not necessarily 45, 45, 90. Why? Remember, the 45 degrees here is only here. This is the 45, this is the 45. But we're talking about this triangle now. So that's actually beyond 45 degrees, if you can see. Okay? Yun. Regarding sa, paano naging square root of 5? That's because Pythagorean theorem. No? 1 square and 2 square should be equals to c square. Di ba? Parang ganun siya. So if you want me to slow it down, that's like c square equals to 1 square plus 2 square, which means that c equals to the square root of 1 square plus 2 square, or c is square root of 5. Okay? Slow down lang natin yan. Okay? Now, yung schedule naman natin, normally I do it on Wednesday. If I see that there is a need for me to add, kasi target ko every Wednesday hanggang end of July, hanggang bago mag-exam kayo. Now, and goal is to finish all 45 questions. But if I see na hindi siya feasible, hindi siya matatapos, so I might add a Friday or maybe even a Saturday or even a Sunday. I'll post on my just check on my profile. So you can follow me so that anything na merong announcement, you can actually be informed. Okay? Sige. Okay. So we're good with this. Okay na tayo? Meron pa ba question? Every day? No, I cannot do every day as much as I want to. Family background about my personal life. I am a loving husband. I will call myself a loving husband, although usually much less time with my wife now because of, I have to do this as well. And then I have 2 lovely daughters, so which are both teenagers already. So I also helping them out. So medyo mahirap balansehin lahat, no? So hindi ako tulad ng mga ibang content creators who are actually very single and young, so therefore they have all the time to do so. So right now I'm doing the best of my ability, and I'm also running a review center as well. So yung kaya hindi ko kaya talaga mag everyday as much as I want, no? Okay. Swerte ko naman nandaan. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. So you can also check out the recordings as well for the previous sessions, no? Yes. Okay? Sige. Now, let's go to the next one. Ready na tayo? Okay, for those who are ready, can you type ready so that we can move on to the next question? Okay? Question number 21 na, if I'm not mistaken. No, alam ko last na ito. Thank you, Avery. Thank you, Yes. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, let's reveal the next question. Wait lang, bago yan. Mag-ano nang muna. Oh, may drum roll. Okay, so next question, topic number 21. Okay, ay wait lang. Maka-suspended daw dito, gifting. Hindi naman siya recording. Wait lang ha. Wait lang. May sinasabi dito. Hold on. Okay, anyway. Yeah, ako na siya. Okay, so anyway, so question number 21 or topic number 21, it's about your perimeter and area of 2D shapes. No? So perimeter and area in short. No? So ito yung mga normally na, how do you find the length, ganyan, and then how do you find the perimeter and area, ganyan, and then yung mga shaded area. Ito yung topic na ito. Okay? So, ready na tayo? Let's take a look at the question natin dito, ha? Let's take a look. Tanan! Tingnan natin. Gusto ba? Ito. Ha? Ba't walang numbers? Walang figure pala. Walang mga shaded area pa. Na? Hi, Jolene Nunez. Okay, so until what time? Normally until 10, but I might extend a bit for tonight. No? My goal is to finish until question number 23. So it depends if we can finish up to question number 23 tonight. Okay? Sige. Okay. So, let's take a look at this question. 5 identical squares are placed side by side to form a rectangle. The area of one square is 120 square units. What is the perimeter of the resulting rectangle? This question, I believe that probably majority of you should be able to handle here. No? It should be doable. The question lang dyan is, how fast can you do it? Okay? Or maybe, baka nakalito pa for you. Okay? But let's try to understand. So, you have here 5 identical squares. So, if we're going to draw this, we can have, 1 square, 2 squares, 3 squares, 4 squares, 5 squares. That's 5 identical squares. And it says here that it now form a rectangle, di ba? Now, the area of one square is 120 square units. So each of this is 120. 120, 120. Okay? Now, what is the perimeter of the resulting rectangle? So as you can see, if you know the side here, let's label that as x, for example, we can say that here, we have here 5x, right? So if you want to solve for the perimeter, how do you get the perimeter of this rectangle, if ever, right? So you have 5x as the length, x as your width. Therefore, it's just going to be twice the sum of the two, right? So twice of the length plus the width. That's going to be 2 times 6x, or simply 12x. Now, how do we get x then? Okay, what information do we have to get x? Yes, okay, because 120 is the area of one square. Because of the area of one square is provided, you can actually get the side of the square. We know that the area of a square is s squared, and that will be equals to 120, right? So to get the side, therefore, will be square root of 120. Okay? Square root of 120. Pag square root of 120 siya, paano natin gagawin ngayon? No? So you can look for the perfect square as a perfect square factor that is in 120, which is actually 4. So we can say that side is actually equal to 4 square root of 30. At kung s is 4 square root of 30, then manasabi na natin that this is going to be 12 times 4 square root of 30. And therefore, the answer here will have to be, wait lang, tumubog ginawa ko dito, 12 times, wait, sorry, my bad, it's not 4, sorry. When we bring it out, the 4, it will just be 2. Okay? So therefore, this is just 2 square root of 30. Okay? Kaya ang answer natin ay 24 square root of 30. Yan yung magiging answer natin dito. So, 24 square root of 30 yung answer. Okay, bakit po 4 square root of 30 ang lumabas? May mali nga, sorry about that. Okay, so how do we get 2 square root of 30? Okay, from square root of 120, okay, 120 can be factored into 4 times 30. Na kung saan, square root of 4 is just 2. So may iwan si square root of 30 because 30 is made up of 2, 3, and 5 factors. Na wala siyang pwede mailabas pa. Okay? Ganun lang siya. Okay? So any clarification question here so far? Okay na tayo dito? This is still doable. Right? Okay pa tayo dito na? Tingnan natin ang next na. Okay, we got 2 square root of 30. Okay. I think you're just trying to explain. Thank you very much. Okay? Oh, something wrong. You're our student, di ba? Tama na? I think I remember your name. Okay. Sige. So let's take a look at the next question. Okay? Next question. Ayan. Ay, tabi ako konti. So meron tayo. Sige, okay na? Kita naman yan. Okay? So we have here a figure. No? We have a figure here. Na we have here is WXYZ here is a square. And you have here a shaded area. Dito, ito part, ito shaded area. No? So the length of the arc, WY, is 4. Find the area of the shaded region. Paano yan? Okay? Paano yan? Okay? You're welcome. What's the name? Lemmy Tipson. Okay, you're welcome. Okay? So, how do we get the area here of the shaded area? Hala. Ano to? Skip to ba to? Game or skip? Okay? Game or skip? Okay? Bigger minus smaller. That's right. The bigger area is your square, right? Minus the area of your what? What do you call this shape? What is that shape? What's the shape? Can you tell me? What's the shape of that one? The arc, when you say the arc, take note, when you say the arc is just this. Okay? So let's be more technical lang. Hindi pwede arc lang. Okay? Pwede 1/4 circle, or you can also call it sector. Sector is the more technical term. Quarter of a circle, I think it's the better one to be used here. Okay? Quarter of a circle mas okay. Okay? Mas maganda siyang gamitin. Okay, so a square minus the quarter of a circle, that's how you can get the area here. But the question is, for you to get the area, right? Area of a square, you need s squared. You need the side of the square. Okay? How about here? For the quarter of a circle, right? Siguro sa mga iba dito, mga alam na sector nga siya. So ang ginagawa natin, isipin natin kaagad, ano ang formula ng sector of a circle? Tama ba? Meron ba nakakaalala dito? Sige nga, meron bang nakakaalala dito? Ano ang formula ng area of a sector? Type yes if you know, if you still remember the formula of the area of a sector. If no, type no please. Para may idea lang ako. Okay? Kung better or not. Okay? Okay. Okay. Thank you, Rapzel. Okay? Okay. Yun. So, pansin natin, majority, hindi nila alam anong formula ng area of a sector. And I'll be honest with you. Hindi ko rin memorize. Okay? Pero paano natin sagutin? Like yung mga sagot dito ni Rapzel, King Clary, okay? Ganyan. Yung concept lang ang kailangan natin. Alam ka natin this is the area of a quarter of a circle. So, quarter is 1/4, di ba? So, ano bang area ng isang circle? Di ba? Pi r square. Quarter siya. Di 1/4. Di sabihin mo na lang na 1/4 pi r square. So, kailangan ba natin maalala yung formula ng sector? No need. Gets nyo? If you understand the concept or not, yan lang yung tanong. Okay? Yan lang yung tanong natin dito. So, very important as to how to get this information. Okay? So now, therefore, the very important information that we need to get is the side of the square and the radius of the circle. If you notice, the side of the square and the radius are basically the same. Right? The side of the square and the radius are basically the same. So how do we get that value? What information do we only have here? We only have the length of the arc WY is 4. Ang meron lang natin, this is 4. Paano yon? Pag alam natin 4 siya, anong makukuha natin out of that? No? Look, if we understand this is how you can get the area of a quarter of a circle, what can you say about 4 then? 4 represents what? Sabi nga natin, that's like the arc, di ba? That's the arc here, right? So, if that's the arc, that's actually what? Ano lang siya? Okay? 1/4, yes, very good, King Clary. It's 1/4 of the circumference of a circle, right? It's 1/4 of the circle of a circle. Does that make sense to you? Does that make sense to everyone? It's 1/4 a circumference of a circle. So how do you get the circumference of a circle then? Circumference of a circle is, naalala pa ba natin? It's gonna be 2 pi r. Diba? 2 pi r. Pero since this is quarter, so that's why that's actually 1/4 of 2 pi r. So what's the relationship, what's the equation that we can form? We can say that that 4, okay, that 4 is actually 1/4 of your 2 pi r. Okay tayo? Nagets natin? Mahirap ba? Am I doing anything na very technical? Kailangan memorize yung formula. Honestly, I solve math and I teach math as much as possible, not using the formula too much. Or if you're going to use the formula, kailangan naintindihan natin yung formula para mabilis natin maalala. Okay? Otherwise, ang dami yung kailangan memorize na formula, pag ito na exam, ano mangyari? Ay, ano nga ba yun? Ano nga ba to? Imbis na, ano ba ang discriminant? Biglang, hindi pala discriminant. Ano ba yung, paano tawag? Yung x-coordinate ng vertex of a parabola, biglang negative b over a lang. Lagot na. Kasi nagkahalo-halo na. So you have to remember, you have to understand, so that everything, there is a way for you to retrieve the formula. Okay? Kailangan meron kayong paraan para maalala niyo yung formula na yun. Okay? So let's continue here. So we can lowest term the 2 and the 4. So this will be 2, this will be 1. So therefore, we can move the 2 from the denominator here on the right side to the up to the numerator on top of the next. So it's going to be 4 times 2. So that's going to be 8 is equals to pi times r, which gives us, if you want to solve for r therefore is 8 over pi. And this r is just the same as your s. Diba? Same lang sila sa s. Okay? So once we have that, therefore, to get our area, that will be your s squared, which is 8 over pi squared minus your 1/4 pi r squared, diba? So that's going to be 1/4 pi times 8 over pi squared. Okay? Ganun lang siya. Okay? Question tayo? Clarification? Violent reaction? Okay? Okay pa kayo? Okay? So, now, next step, if we look at the choices that we have, notice that we all have the pi square factored out. Diba? So that means, kailangan ko muna talaga to expand. No? So, 8 over pi square, that will give us 64 over pi squared. Now, minus 1/4 pi, or I can write it as actually pi over 4. Correct? Now here, baka the times natin ngayon with di ganun ulit, 64 over pi square. Right? Now, here's the thing. Probably, many of you, what you will do, pi square and pi, dito sa second term, cancel ko na. 64 and 4, cancel ko na. Tapos pagkatapos nakita yung choices, paano ko ito kukunin? Ganyan. Maguguluhan na tayo. Right? Now, what do you notice here? What is common to A, B, C, D here? Ang common sa A, B, C, D ay ay yung 1 minus pi over 4. Yan yung meron na parenthesis sa kanilang lahat. So that means, when you factored out whatever over pi square, you should end up with 1 minus pi over 4. Right? So what do you notice here? You have here 64 pi squared, 64 over pi squared. When you factored out the whole When you factor out the whole 64 over pi squared, what will be left is 1 minus pi over 4. Right? And the answer is there. Congratulations, King Clary. Okay? So the answer here is your letter A. Okay? It's your letter A. Nakuha natin? Questions? Clarification? Okay ba tayo? Okay? Sige. Okay pa? Yes, letter A. Okay? So, is it complicated? Is it doable in 1 minute? Probably, if this is the first time that you're going to answer this question, it's going to take you more than 1 minute. But if this is the 10th time that you're going to answer this question, siguro naman, hindi na kailangan. Okay? Okay? So, kaya kailangan nyo balik-balikan yung mga questions na ito. Okay? So, you can also watch the recording. I'm sure kahit na bukas balikan nyo itong question na ito, makakalimutan nyo pa ulit. Okay? Can I see what would happen if you distribute it back? What do you mean by distribute back? Ito, this one and this one, I distribute back. Clarify your question, sorry. Hindi ko masyado nag-get. The slides, I don't exactly post the slides, but you can follow the YouTube channel for the videos. So, baka doon ka lang tayo mag-screenshot. Okay? Doon na lang siguro. Baka di ko na kaya pa mag-isa-isa mga slides kasi. Ha? Okay? Thank you very much. Okay? Sige. Okay. Multiply. Okay. So, if you multiply, kasi ginawa natin dito is because both have 64 over pi square, right? So, that's like 64 over pi square divided by 64 over pi square, that will end up with 1. Then minus pi over 4 times 64 over pi square divided by 64 over pi square, ang matitira ngayon is pi over 4 na. Okay? Tama ba? Did I explain the right way na kailangan natin? Yun ba yung tanong natin? Okay? So, if not, elaborate pa ng konti para mas gets ko kung ano yung gusto nating banggitin, ha? Okay? Sige. Okay. Okay. So, dun sa mga okay na dito, okay, let's move on to the next question. Okay, let's take a look. Ayan. Ayan. Itong question na ganito. Dito naman ako punta. Okay. Ayan. Paano natin sasagutin ganitong klaseng question? No? Paano sasagutin mga ganitong question? Parang, Parang mahirap to. Hindi ba? Parang mahirap to. No? Okay. By the way, thank you for those who are tapping the hearts, and then for those who are sharing. Okay, I appreciate all your efforts. Thank you very much. No? So, I just hope that I can, the effort na ginagawa natin dito, sana mas marami tayong matulungan. Yun lang ang pinaka-goal natin dito. Okay? So, in this question here, circle A intersects the rectangle ATFD, okay, where AT is equals to 2AP and AD equals to 3AQ, and the area of ATFD is 54 square units. Find the area of the shaded region. Paano kaya yan? Skip na? Skip na ba tayo? Or answer natin? Okay. Ano kaya ang gagawin natin, no? So, wait. Let's draw this figure. Tapos, okay. Okay, hindi masyado maganda yung drawing. Hayaan nyo na. This is A, P, T, Q, D, and F. Okay. Okay. So, how do we go about? May triangle ba tayo? Hindi siya triangle eh. Ang tawag natin dyan. Kaninang term natin ginamit natin sa previous question. Anong term? Mag-guess? Huwag naman. Okay? You don't leave your future to chances, di ba? Okay. Yes, pwede naman konti, no? But let's take a look. I-draw out lang natin kung ano man alam natin dito. So, they intersect, let it be, kasi nag-intersect sa figure, di ba? AT equals to 2AP. So, itong buong length ng AT ay 2AP. So, ibig sabihin lang nun ay if this is X, this is also X, di ba? Kasi twice siya eh. Nagas natin yun? Twice siya eh. So, dalawa dapat yan parehong X, for example. And AD equals to 3AQ. So, itong buong AD daw is tatlong ganito, AQ. Now, let me ask you. Parang sabihin natin, ay di baka another variable Y yan. But look, tell me, what is the relationship? Ito yung normally na hindi nakikita ng student. Pero pag nakita na, yun lang pala yun. Ganun lang pala yun. So, kailangan lang talaga alam natin kung paano yung right approach. Okay? So, tell me, what is the relationship of your AP and your AQ? Anong masasabi natin sa AP at sa AQ? They are what? AP and AQ are congruent. Di ba? Because they are just anong tawag natin sa kanila? Bakit natin masabi na congruent sila? Because of, not because of the triangle, di ba? But because they are both radius or radii of the circle. Yes. Okay? Because they're both radii of the circle. So therefore, if this is X, AQ, if AP is X, AQ is also X. At anong sinasabi niya sa AD? AD is 3 times of AQ, or that means the whole thing is 3X. Diba? The whole thing is 3x. So therefore, and then sinasabi niyo na ATFD, the rectangle here, the big rectangle here, has 54 square units. So yan yung area niya. How do you get the area of the rectangle? The length is 3x. The width, as you notice, is 2x. Right? Ay, sorry. Takpan pala. So 3x and 2x, diba? So therefore, the area of that rectangle will actually be 3x times 2x. And what's the area of the rectangle provided here? It's actually equal to 54. So that's going to be 6x squared. Okay? Divide both sides by 6, you get x squared to be 9. And therefore, we can say that your x here has to be positive 3 because you cannot have a negative side. Diba? Kaya positive 3 lang kukunin natin. Now that we have x, can we now get the area of that shaded region? How do we get the area of the shaded region? That's actually just what? A quarter circle. Pareho sa kanina example, di ba? So how do you get the area of a quarter circle? The area of the quarter circle. So ganito, figure natin, yan yung drawing. So that's gonna be 1/4 of your pi r square, di ba? 1/4 of the pi r square. And what is your radius here? Your radius is your x, which is actually 3 squared. Di ba? So therefore, that's going to be 9 times 1/4 pi, or 9 pi over 4. Okay? So that's the area of our shaded region, which is your letter A. Oh, magulo ba siya? Ano napansin natin? Sinamahan ko kasi kayo on how to break down the question. I did it one at a time. Okay? Because I know how to connect them. The question is, pag kayo na mismo, can you connect them? That's the question. So what will it take for you to be able to interpret it the way I interpret? So yan yung skill na kailangan yung ma-practice. No? Yung parang every time pag, ano lang yan? Dito na naman ako. Parang ano lang yan, parang sinabi mo na, ayun ako, baka sabihin nyo, coordinated naman or whatsoever, no? Parang ano lang siya, no? Parang concept lang siya ng pag sinabi ng babae, saan tayo kakain? What does it mean? It does not mean na hinihingi niya opinion mo. It only means na meron siyang gusto. Pwede niya masabi pa. Diba? Saan mo tingin mo gusto, maganda kumain? Saan masarap kayo kumain? Tapos yan din yung gusto ko. Tama, yan din. Doon tayo. Ganun lang din. So, you need to be able to interpret them correctly. Kung hindi, mali na direction, no? Ganun din lang. Okay? Wait lang. Question dito. Sir, can't you just do 9-6? Wait lang. From the area of the rectangle. Or is it pure coincidence? Wait lang. What do you mean 9-6? Can you... okay. Gets ko na sa mo. Bakit 9-6? Parang because you get the ratio is 2:3. Kaya nang isip mo na, parang 9 times 6 lang yung 54. So parang doon, nakita mo na 3x, 2x, parang ganun. Well, it's not a coincidence in a way because it's really 2x and 3x. It's just na parang mas mabilis mo makita lang siya ng ganun. Okay? So, that's possible. Wait lang, paano 9 minus 6? Saan si 9 minus 6 nanggagaling? Can you help me out? What do you mean by 9 minus 6? From the area of the rectangle. Hindi ko ma-picture yung... to get the radius. To get the radius. Where did you get the 9 and where did you get the 6 to get the radius? Well, if you're talking about... If you're talking about 3x minus 2x, you will get x. Kaya magiging 9 minus 6 is 3. Okay? In that sense, tama siyang x. But what if it's not 2 by 3? What if it's like sabihin natin, 7x and 3x. Hindi mo pwede sabihin 7 minus 3 lang. Kasi nga, it's 4. 4 na x na yun. Okay? So, it's not gonna be necessarily, if that's the basis, ha? If that's the basis. Oh. So, yeah, sige. Okay. Okay, wait lang. Okay, sige. Okay pa tayo? Nakapagod na. May iba sumuko na eh. Manonood na lang daw ng recording na lang. But you see, it's different din pag mismong live and you can ask your questions And I really looking forward to your questions para to clarify your thoughts, kung tama ba yung the way you think. Kaya anytime yung mga solutions nyo, you can show, you can message, para makita natin na, okay, baka meron ako kailangan makorek sa paano nyo na iniisip. Okay? Parang ganun lang siya. Okay? Parang, kumbaga, what I'm doing is like I'm a doctor, I'm trying to troubleshoot you. Parang ganun lang siya. Okay? Sige. Okay, next tayo. Meron pang example pa dito. Okay, yan. Paano kaya ito isolve? Ay, wait. Itong figure na to. Paano natin kaya ito isolve? Sige nga. In the given figure, AB and CD are diameters. No? What fraction of the area of the circle is the area of the shaded region? Nako. Wala naman siyang binigay na values ng radius. Diba? So, paano mo kunin yung mga area ng bawat isa? Hindi nga. Do you have any clue? Wait lang. Napapause na ulit. May clue ba tayo? On how to solve this? Or clueless? Ano about 42 degrees? What's 42 degrees? What's 42 degrees? Okay. First, ang hinihingi sa question dito, okay, 1/2 of 42, why 1/2? Saan nagaling si 1/2? No? Okay. First thing here that we have to understand, we are not trying to solve for an area. We are trying to solve for the fractional part. So what fraction of the area of the circle is the area of the shaded region? No? Now, I hope that you see it like yung kaninang mga examples natin about quarter circle. Quarter circle because it's 1/4 of a circle. Kaya 1/4 na yung ratio. So yung ratio na 1/4, that's the ratio that we are looking for in this question. Okay? So how do we get that? So para madali lang makuha natin actually, we just need to get the ratio of the angle dun sa gitna. No? Dun sa gitna na yun. Yung ratio ng, for example, ito yun, right? Let's say, ito, ganyan lang muna. So, we're trying to get the ratio of this angle versus the whole circle. Just like comparison ng 1/4 kasi 90 degrees divided by 360 degrees, what's 1/4? Okay? So, therefore, whatever this angle is, that will be x over 360. That will be the fractional part that we are looking for. So, the question is, how do we get that x angle? Paano natin siya hahanapin? Okay? Now, if you noticed here, this is a diameter. Di ba? That's a diameter. If that's a diameter, that means itong buo na ito, ilang degrees? Sa kalahati sa right side. Di ba? That's gonna be, how many degrees? That's gonna be 180 degrees. Okay? Now, if that's 180 degrees, paano natin kukunin naman itong angle na nandito? Ano mapapansin natin naman dyan? No? Paano natin kukunin naman yan? No? So parang ganun lang yung concept. Paano natin kukunin yung bawat isa na to? So pwede mong kukunin ito. Okay? Parami ibang, I think maybe the better way. No? Let me redraw the 180 degrees better. Parang hindi maganda ito yung gamitin natin 180 degrees. No? Mas maganda will be ganito ang pagka 180 degrees natin. Okay? If this is 180 degrees, okay, then how do we get this particular angle? Mapansin natin, itong hanggang dito, mayroon pang siyang ganito, no? This is 90 degrees. That implies that, laki ang konti na lang. I'll use white. This is 90 degrees, di ba? That implies this bottom part should also be 90 degrees. Di ba? Kaya kung 42 ito, we can get the complement of that. That means this is 48 degrees. Okay? So that tells us that it's 180 and 48 yung itong dalawang to. So when you add up 180 with 48, that gives us 228 degrees. Ano tong 228 degrees na to? Ito yung area na itong buo. So, pwede natin minus sa 360 to get your x. Or, another way also, kung nakita na nga natin this is 48 degrees, and we know that they add up to 180 degrees just like yung mga sinasuggest natin dito, we can get x by simply, but 180 minus 48 degrees. So, as you can see, many different ways of looking at the solution. Depende na kung paano natin hinaharap sila. So, this will be 132 degrees. Now, once we get to 132 degrees, then we can substitute that to your x here, to x there. So, that's going to be 132 over 360. Oh. Now, question. 132 over 360. Hala, madali ba yan i-lowest term? Madali ba i-lowest term yan? Tell me nga. Sige nga, how do you lowest term 132 over 360? Paano? Okay na tayo sa 132 degrees, no? Okay na tayo, 132. Paano natin siya ngayon i-lowest term? Because kailangan natin i-lowest term sila, di ba? Okay? So how do we go? Okay, just tell me, easy or difficult to lowest term 132 over 360? Can you type? Easy or difficult? Nako, nag-change ng answer na si something. Okay. Okay. Why 12? How did you know 12? Oh, Rapsi says, mahirap. Need many steps. Okay. Rod, how did you know 12? Where did you think of 12? Or ganyan ba kayo kabilis mag-do calculation na 132 is divisible by 12, 360 is divided by 12. Ganun ba? I just want to know. Did you do it like that? Or there's something else? Do 6 muna. Okay? Okay? How about the other? Yung mga sabi ng 12 kaagad, paano na naisip si 12? Memorize mo 11 and 12. Well, yeah. And what if hindi mo siya memorize? Look. Okay, ito na. Ito na. Wait lang. Ayan, natin ng konting pampa sound effect ng konti, no? Ito na. Okay, may drum effect. Okay, look. Okay? The problem that we're doing right now, the problem in what you're doing right now is you're too focused on what? You're too focused on solving the answer. You're too focused on solving the answer that you are not looking somewhere else. What am I talking about? Imbis na mag-iisip tayo, anong common factor na 132 at 360 ng out of nowhere, saan tayo maghahanap ng hint? Tanan! Ayan, no? Ay, hindi nyo makita. Ay, putol na. Yung mga choices natin. Nandyan ang hint natin. Ano yung mga choices? Ano yung mga hint nandyan? Over 30 si letter A, over 30 si letter B, over 5 si letter C, over 36 si letter D. So, ano ibig sabihin? Ano ibig sabihin natin dyan? Okay? Pag sinabing, kunyari, A or B, that means, kailangan maging over 30 sila kung A or B ang sagot natin. Right? So, paano siya magiging 30 siya? Saan ba yung mas madali makuha natin? Hindi tapos sa denominator, syempre. So, 360 divided by what number becomes 30? That's gonna be 12. Right? So, we check out, well, that gives us the numerator. 1/3 divided by 12, that will give us actually, yes, 11 over 30. Kaya ang sagot natin dito actually ay your letter A. Okay? Kaya mukuha natin yung letter A na sagot. Pero paano pag kunya hindi letter A, letter B na try mo? What if it's letter C? So, paano si magiging 360 ay magiging over 5? What do we divide then? Okay? What do we divide to get to that? Okay? So, that's going to be 72. So, you have to divide this by 72 to get to 5. Okay? So, ang tanong, 132 divided by 72, will that be a whole number? Hindi. Gets? Nakita nyo paano gagawin? How about letter D? Para masabi natin na 360 para maging 36 siya, edi dapat divided by 10. So that means 132, we need to divide this by 10. Also, as you can see, hindi na siya whole number. Okay? Clear? So, it's a multiple choice exam. Okay? It's a multiple choice exam. So, sila ang mga kaibigan natin. So, use your friends wisely. Dito lang yan, ha? Hindi yan sa totoong buhay, ha? Use your friends wisely. The choices are your friends. They're there to give you hints. If you know, if you see them. Diba? Parang ano lang yan. It's just like what? It's just like God. God is just around us. The hints are all over. The question is, do we look at the hints that He's giving us? Ay, wait lang. Oh. Okay, yeah. Okay. Okay, so, diba? Nandyan lang naman mga hints na binibigay sa atin ni God. Ang tanong, nakikita ba natin? Iniisip pa natin siya. Pag di natin siya naiisip, paano nyo maiisip yung hint about? Parang kanina. Diba? Focus na kayo sa solution. Paano nyo makikita siya? Diba hindi? Okay? So, ganun lang yan. Okay? Question? Clarification tayo? Okay. It's already 10:20. I think the best is tapusin lang natin to hanggang 20. Baka 21, okay na. More or less, mag-cut na tayo. Ha? Baka hindi na, pagod na rin yata yung iba. I think, saturated na. Wait lang. Hindi ko lang sure kung meron pa ba. More or less, I think halos. Sige. Check ko na lang kung meron pang next tayo dito. Meron pa. One last pa, I think. Yeah. I think this, yeah, more or less, ito na yung last natin. Okay? So, we'll have this one last question before we end the session for tonight na lang. Okay? Tapusin ko lang hanggang 21 lang for tonight. Okay? I'm sure yung iba dito is pigang-piga na. Yung sabi ko kanina, tuyo na. No? Okay? So, para makapahinga rin naman ng konti. No? Tingnan natin kung ano pang pwede natin gawin, kung ba will to add another day or what. No? Just keep updated lang. So, just follow me and I'll post na lang kung meron naman magla-live tayo. Okay? But if ever normally it's around 8 o'clock in the evening. Okay? Sige. Okay. This question here, no? This question here came out, I believe, post-pandemic. Okay? And as you can see, wala namang numbers, wala namang anything. Paano ito sasagutan? Okay? Tingnan natin. A rectangle has L and W as its dimension, with L longer than W, so that's length and width. Ganun lang. No? So, if a positive number, X, is added to L, but subtracted from W, what happens to the rectangle's area? So, paano natin malalaman to? Oh, so, si Ali. Okay? Paano mo naisip na C? Oh. Si Jem, paano mo naman naisip na A? Ano lang? Isip lang? Or meron kayo talagang ginawang analysis na dito? Okay? Meron ba idea tayo? Nagbigay ng example. Okay, pwede naman. Okay? That's actually one of the easiest way to go about as well. Okay? But I will show you how it is more on the theoretical side on how to see it. Okay? Para makita nyo ng mas foolproof na approach. Okay? Ganito. We can think of it like unang rectangle na area na length and width yung sides niya. Diba? So therefore, the original rectangle has the area of length times width. Agree? Length times width. Yes, parang ganun yung concept naman. Okay, Rod? But let me clarify a little lang. Okay? So, that's the original area. You can represent it by length times width, which is a sub 0. No? Now, the new area is now because of the new length and the new width. Correct? Ano ngayon ang new length? Can you tell me? How do we represent the new length? Can you tell me? New length should be, anong haba ng new length natin? It is, anyone? Lala, pagod na. Sabi niya dito, if a positive number x is added to L, hindi lang si x ang length, di ba? It's added to your L. Yes. Yes, Rod. So your new length is now L plus x, right? How about your new width? Sabi niya, but subtracted from W. What is now your new width? How do you represent your new width? It is actually W minus X. Yes, thank you, Jem. So W minus X. And the new area, therefore, will be the product of the new length and the new width. Agree? Agree tayo dyan? Okay. Now, so notice here, the new area, okay, will have to be the product of these two quantities, diba? So therefore, we distribute them. FOIL method. No? So L times W, we get length times width. Then L times X, that's going to be negative LX. X times W, that's going to be positive WX. X times negative X is going to be negative X squared. Right? Oh, now, what do you notice here? Okay? Your LW, that's your original area. Diba? Yan yung original area natin. So you replace the LW with original area so that we can compare the two. Okay? Ngayon, meron tayong ganitong expression, no? Where they have, what common with them is they all have a factor of x. So pwede natin ilabas, so pwede natin i-plus, ilabas natin yung x natin. Ngayon, ang positive dito si W, x. So unahin na lang natin siya as W para sa harapan positive. Okay? The negative LX by minus L, the negative x squared, therefore minus x. Wait, let me just write that down properly. So may x ka pa dyan. Okay tayo dito? Clear tayo so far? Okay? Now, what do you notice here? Sinong mas malaki? Si new area or si original area? Paano natin makakompare? Right? Okay? So very crucial is what kind of value will we get out of that entire expression? Will that be a positive value or will that be a negative value? Or will that be zero? Paano natin malalaman kung anong value na meron niya? No? Let's check. We know that your x, as stated in the problem, sinasabi niya, x is a positive number. So we are sure that this is positive. The question right now is, ano ang value ng W minus L minus x? Is this a positive value or is this a negative value? Paano natin malalaman? Okay? Now, isipin nyo na lang na parang on a simple way of thinking at this, no? W is the width. L is the length, right? Sino mas malaki? Si W or si L? Di ba length is larger than width based on the given din, di ba? So W minus L, what kind of value can you say about W minus L? Can you tell me? Is that positive or negative? W minus L. Is it positive or negative? Negative, di ba? Kasi mas malaki si L kaysa sa W. So this is negative, right? And negative x, it's also what? X is positive, negative x therefore is negative. So when you add two negative numbers, ano mangyayari dito? This is also a negative value. So when you multiply a negative with a positive, you'll end up here as negative value. So therefore, ang sinasabi natin dito ay the new area is equal to the original area plus a negative value. Okay? So ano masasabi natin? Sino mas malaki? Si new area or si original? Diba? Si original ba o si new ang mas malaki? Since nag-add tayo ng negative sa original, nabawasan si original. So that means the new area is smaller than the original area. Okay? So the new area is smaller than the original area, kaya nag-decrease ang area natin. Lumiit siya kasi nag-add ka nga ng negative. Okay? Kaya the answer here is actually letter C. Okay? Letter C. Nakuha natin yung idea nun. But of course, pwede tayo magbigay ng numbers to represent. Pwede naman. No problem with that. Pero kung pwede natin ganitong i-approach, madali din lang tingnan. Okay? 1 out of 45 score sa UP. Okay? Wag naman. Okay? you still have time. You still have almost a month to prepare. No? So, ang sinasabi lang natin dito is that if you can start with what we are showing you, I'm sure you'll do a lot better in the actual exam. So, kung kaya mo sagutin lahat ng mga questions na nabinigay namin sa inyo na by yourself within the time limit, we believe that you should be able to do well in the actual UPCAT math proficiency. Okay? Yan lang masasabi ko sa atin. Okay? So, it's a matter of how much effort and how much work can you do on this. Siyempre, iba rin yung reality. Meron kayong mga school, meron kayong family, meron kayong mga ibang gagawin. So, depende dun sa reality na meron natin. Kung kaya ba natin ng spend how much time and also kung ano pa yung ma-improve natin. That's gonna be another question. Okay? Sige. Okay. So, with that, I'll end. 10:30 na rin, no? So 2.5 hours na tayo ng live. Okay? So, I'll end it tonight here. Again, I'll upload soon the session 4 and session 5. So, for those who have not watched the previous sessions, you can watch it in YouTube so that maybe you have questions. So, feel free to message either there or you can also message here. Pwede nyo rin ako i-PM pag meron kayong gustong question na ipatanong. Meron kayong mga nakuha reviewers sa iba, tapos gusto nyo paano sagutin to, sabihin nyo lang para matulungan ko rin kayo. Okay? So, yes, thank you very much. Thank you for all your good words, no? Kind words also. So, I hope that you can help me share with your friends, no? Para sa mga susunod na live natin, matulungan pa natin sila. Okay? Huwag na tayo mag-gatekeep, ha? Tulungan tayo isa't isa. Okay? Sige. So, thank you very much, everyone. I'll see you again. Minimum is next Wednesday. I'll see if I will add another day. Okay? Sige. Good night, everyone. Good night. Sayo ko lang na-gets yung shaded region. Thank you. Thank you. Happy to see that. Okay? Hope to help you more. Thank you. Bye-bye. Good night.